miss, huh? You got a boyfriend. I bet he doesn't kiss you. Yeah, yeah. Why did I think of that today, of all things? Because Mia Khalifa was on one of the shows I watched, was kind of making fun of her because I guess she's making like some shorts, hoping that everyone who goes to the Middle East to fight gets PTSD, which is so weird because it's like, doesn't she understand if she actually moved to pretty much any of the countries in the Middle East, they'd probably kill her for the fact that she's been, you know, doing what she's been doing. It's like, yeah, they don't take fondly to, you know, Muslim women prostituting themselves, you know. So it's so weird. And her speech she gave, it reminded me of listening to old clips of Hanoi Jane. You know, the whole you will be injured, GI, and your government do not like you. Except Hanoi Jane didn't live in America. You know, it's like, what is going on here with these? Oh man, you know, I know it might sound misogynist and whatever, but it does seem like it's always the ladies. You know, it's always the ladies acting fool. Most men, unless they're real maniacs, can be reasoned with, but these women, a lot of them, cannot be reasoned with. Like my wife can, because she's actually less emotional about shit than I am. But um, you know, yeah, I'm not trying to get into a whole thing about politics, but I just saw that and I was like, really, girl, you gonna be that way? And yeah, she is. It's like, okay, yeah. Saw my father-in-law and mother-in-law last night. Awesome. Hi, buddy. What are you doing? And so that was cool, you know. You know, if you want to join, you can. But we're talking about games. So there's Mobius. Good day. So Mobius, I don't know if it's true or not, but I was told that before my buddy left out of here and decided to never come back, he said, I'm out of here. Mobius can have this channel. That's what someone said to me. I don't remember that. I don't know if you remember that, but it seems like a weird thing to say. Stephen Kennedy, oi, oi, oi. I am just putting some nasty, bloody looking stuff on the brain in the middle of this tentacle shit. And I'm making this for uh hyperborea. Like I'll put a normal well down during an encounter, and when the players approach the well, I'll replace it with this. Be like, rah! Gonna put those tentacles in places. It's gonna be like a Japanese cartoon, not one I would watch. But you know, they exist. Well, yeah, I'm not gonna say that, but that's just what I was told. And I mean, I understand. My in-laws are from Canada. Well, one of them originally, they draw their lineage to Canada. And I was asking, I was like, what is up with Canadians? You know, it's like Americans, we always imagine Canadians as being these super polite. And I said, but for some reason on my channel, you get more than 2 Canadians in the chat and they go off. I'm like, what? And they're like, against you? And I'm like, no, against each other. I'm just sitting here like practically begging people not to you know, be mad at each other. And these guys are like, eh. And they're like, well, that's what you get for just assuming all Canadians are nice. I was like, I guess it is. I guess it is. It's funny. We had a great time. Don't tell anybody, but I drank. But it wasn't really drinking because it was some kind of like passion fruit wine. And it tastes like passion fruit, and it was wine. And it was fizzy. So it was almost more like a passion fruit champagne, maybe, or sparkling wine. I don't know what it was, but yeah, I had like 4 glasses of it. Almost home time. Oh yeah, you're at work right now, Mobies? We are nice, just not to each other. Because I remember going to Windsor back in the late 80s. And I remember absolutely being in love with the whole country of Canada based on my interactions with people in Windsor, though. I'd never went anywhere else. But back then, you could cross the bridge from Michigan to Windsor. Nobody looked at any sort of like, there was no passport bullshit, none of that, you know. And the nudie bars were 100% full nude. There was no, you know, whatever. And in the late 80s, the Canadian dollar was kind of weak to the American dollar. So, like, you know, it just made anything in Canada cheaper if you were an American. So you could go over there and drink actual good beer and look at the hotties from Quebec dance around full nude and then eat pancakes and then drive home, right? So if you live at that time, my sister lived in the suburbs of Detroit called Lincoln Park. So it wasn't even that far of a drive. Yeah, I don't feel like flogging a dead horse, even though right now I can see the light at the end of the horse. Only people who ever watched The Key of Awesome are going to get that. That's okay. So I've got a lot of stuff to paint here. One is I've got an old school, new school Marauder, and I painted it black because I'm going to do the dry brush technique. And I'm basing it on a picture I saw in that MechWarrior book my sister-in-law bought me. So this is going to end up forced camo. Kind of like some of the other mechs I've painted recently, like this. This is actually not a Warhammer as much as it may look like a Warhammer. It's a Hammer Hand, which is another old tech mech that, you know, but yeah, that's the Hammer Hand. And I did it up in a basic camo. I got my other Zeus over here, which I still need to do some shading on, but I did that in another style of camo. So I just been doing some mechs in some camo. This guy right here, this is a guillotine. So this is a Star League mech, and I did it white, but I, you know, cleaned up all the panels and everything so that, you know, it stands out. Hey, Dean Powell, saw you this morning. I couldn't join Shadow Stream this morning because I had a dentist thing. Like every 3 months, I go in for a cleaning. I mean, my wife's insurance pays for it, so may as well do it, right? And it's always the same thing. No matter how hard I work, I go in there and they tell me I need to floss more. And I'm like, more than what? Jeez. Like, do I spend like 3 hours a day flossing? Now, this guy, I just left him in a simple green because of a couple of reasons. One, it looks good, and two, I like the whole idea of the Green Knight, right? So this obviously, anyone who knows Bautech knows this is a Black Knight, but this one's the Green Knight. Yeah, because I'm a nerd, you know. Another forest camo guy. This is Osrock. And then I've got my desert camo person over here, the Scorpion. See? We called that like chocolate chip camo. That's what we wore a lot of when we were in Iraq. I had inspections today. Yep. There was a time, Mobius, when my job with the city was just to drive around and inspect sewer connections. No, I got a great dentist. And cleanings, that's not even like seeing the dentist. You go in and a dental tech scrapes and pokes around and polishes your teeth. And there you go. You know what I mean? But yeah, when I worked at the city, I would drive around to all the construction sites and make sure that the 4-inch sewer pipe coming out of the house and the 4-inch leading to the main were actually connected correctly and leveled. And then if it were good, I would sign off on it. And then that meant, cool, they could go to the next step. But if it wasn't good, they got no signature, and that meant they were hosed until they fixed it. Oh, your joke of a work partner. So, man, I got my order of Reaper in like 3 or 4 days ago, and I just haven't even. Okay, first off, this. My wife bought me this for my birthday. I will figure out a way to work this into one of our Hyperborea games. You can count on that. I don't know how, but there will come a time when they're somewhere under a river or in some ruins or something, and they're going to want to try to cross this thing. And I think that will make for some good fighting. I mean, you figure 25 millimeter is almost one at a time can go across it. You know, it's about 8 feet across, and you need another me. Thank God there isn't another me. But and of course, this miniature, she is from the Shady Dragon Inn. This is the evil sorceress that hangs out with Kellic and Warduke and all of that. Yeah, this could be. I'm thinking a river. Really, I'm thinking a river. This is going to be like a big river, and they might have to jump or something off of this side because the staircases obviously got wrecked. You know, you got your big staircase over here. I mean, it came in parts. I could have put it together multiple ways. I almost thought about just leaving the 45s out, but then it would have only been about that long. And then what would I have done with the 45s, right? But I can't remember if I played Diablo 2. I think I only played Diablo 1. And I played the fighter, so when you go into the church and you find the dead body, you're all like, your death will be avenged. And then you just run around, you know, killing everything. But yeah, a lot of my Reaper order for whoever was talking about Hyperborea has been for Hyperborea. I've been ordering weird ass stuff that is apparently pretty common in Hyperborea, but not so common in any other D&D setting. So like when I was showing off all of the different various apes or the giant freaking ground sloth, you know, because the setting of Hyperborea is full of like Ice Age creatures. stuff from the late and early Paleolithic and all that sort of stuff. All right, drive safe. And yeah, so I had to pick up a ground sloth, a couple of mammoths, a couple of mammoths with saddles, because mammoths are used for pretty much draft animals, but they also wander around the wild. And there is a possibility if you mess with them, they will stomp you into a bloody smear. That's not even a joke. You will be a bloody smear if a mammoth gets you. They're like 12 to 18 hit die, hit like a truck. And then, of course, I've got my woolly rhino saddled up to be ridden by multiple people because the saddle's up here. So all this area back here is for whatever, right? And then, of course, the woolly rhino without the saddle in case they encounter one. And like up here in this box, I need to do the bases. Actually, I got some primer between her boobies I need to work out. But I've got all of these, which were originally HP. They're for Call of Cthulhu, and they're supposed to represent the children of Shub-Niggurath. So that's why they got like goat horns and whatever. But they pretty much could easily be slotted in as men of Ling. And there are females of Ling, but you know, they just say men of Ling. So, you know. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on around. That's what's going on. Nothing's right on tour. I'm all out of faith. This is who I am. You messaged me an image. Cool. Cool. Now, these guys, I had to pick a few of them up because I don't think I own many of them. And this is a good sculpt for gargoyles, right? And they'll be pretty easy to paint since I'll just paint them gray out of a rattle can and then put shade on them. And gargoyles are typically one of those creatures you actually should have a few of, I think. And I did. But, I mean, you know, I did pick up gigantic catfish. And let me tell you, this catfish is bigger than the shark, the Dunkelsaurus, or whatever it's called. Like all the other fish monsters I bought, this catfish is way bigger. And I'll tell you another thing that some of you that's been watching for a long time already know about me. Catfish kind of terrify me a little bit. I'm a little bit frightened of catfish. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, catfish, not the thing I want to mess with. But you figure a catfish that big, a human, that catfish would easily swallow people. And so, again, I've went through a phase where I've bought a lot of marine animals. So I've got catfish, I've got sharks, I've got colossal grouper, I've got that armored prehistoric fish, the Dunkel something, and I've got a gigantic eel. I guess, you know, what I really need is like a giant octopus or a giant squid. Uh-oh. Did I? Let me look. Did I just throw away? All right. I got a Greek priest because he could be a mage or a priest. And Greeks factor very heavily in my campaign for whatever reason. All right. So now I did not throw away a miniature. So that's good. One thing I got, and I don't see it in here because there's some that are just boxes, is I bought whatever vehicles um, for CAV that they still had. And which sucks because almost all the CAV miniatures are sold out, and there's a lot of them that I would like. And these guys are like the CAV guys are 8mm scales, so they're dead on with BattleTech. And when you're dealing with vehicles and stuff like that, I mean, I don't think any of the Cav miniatures would actually be a stand-in for a BattleTech miniature, but the actual mechs, but I think that the vehicles absolutely could stand in for some of the other vehicles. They'll sip of some H2O. See, like this wheeled vehicle here could easily be painted up as like a medical vehicle, a command vehicle, anything like that. Or it could be some kind of infantry carrying vehicle. When it gets to vehicles in Baltech, I mean, it's almost like a free for all, you know. The same with aircraft. But yeah, Reaper, you would think for a big company, you would never go there and there'd be like miniatures that are just not available because they're out of stock for like months at a time. You would think that somebody somewhere would be like, oh, yeah, we've been out of all these miniatures for months. How about somebody get off their ass and make a few, right? Uh, but the best thing I could do is just to, since I have an account, is to put them on my want list. And hopefully one day they'll have the vehicles I want. Yeah. Okay. Drilling the guns in these guys, and then they'll go into a soap bath for a while. Looks like the guns on these guys are basically remote controlled turreted, either an autocannon or a 50 cal, probably. So in Baltech, that's either going to be some kind of AC, but probably I would just say a machine gun. You know, yeah, they have exit ramps all over the place. So these are obviously infantry carriers. So the big thing would be to figure out which Baltech infantry carrying vehicle most looks like this, and then just use those stats. I mean, that is the unfortunate thing. Oh, look, two more of the exact same vehicle. So apparently I bought a whole damn platoon. I mean, at least if they set up like the way I remember we set up, it's 4 vehicles equal platoon, 3 platoons plus support is a company. So yeah, kind of like the way the mechs work, you know. And then each one of these vehicles, it looks like carries 10 men. Just the way it's designed, it looks like it's made for 10 guys, not counting crew. So it actually carries 4 men more than like an M2 Bradley would. Or if it's a Scout Bradley and M3, then those guys only carry like 2 guys. You know, they don't carry many dudes. But that's not their job. So, you know. I think the striker that they tried to replace the Bradley with carried 10 guys or something like that. But uh, at some point, people realized that it sucked. What's up, James? How you doing, bro? Yeah, the link is there if anybody wants to pop in and talk miniatures and Hyperborea, because that's basically what I'm talking about, miniatures and Hyperborea. And I probably will be on an hour, maybe two, depending how the combos go. But um, yeah, I'm tired from yesterday, and uh, we have the Hyperborea game Saturday, which means I've got to help the wife get the house. I mean, I look at our house, other than my room, which is full of boxes of crap. Our house right now is freaking, cleaner than pretty much uh, a lot of houses would be, because when you're like two 50-year-old people living in a house, it's not like you're running around wrecking shit all day. When we had young kids and stuff, then yeah, it was trying to keep up with all that. But now with just her, me, and the pup, mostly the only reason I vacuum is to get pup fur up, because this little Pomeranian, man, he can lay on the floor and you can watch the fur drifting off of him into the air. But what are you gonna do? He's my boy. So, oh wow. So it looks here, I've got some big ass tanks. We'll see how they scale with the tanks I already have, which looks like dead on. Just looking at them from, because I've got a couple Valtech tanks right here in front of me, so I can actually just look. Yeah, except for my game room. My game room is my wife's shame. I do keep it clean. It's just there's so much stuff in it. But like I said, I'm getting ready to get rid of so much stuff. I think that'll be that'll make a huge difference. I went through all my game books, and I'm getting rid of basically every book that I have more than one copy of, and that is a problem for me. And I'm also getting rid of all the 40K stuff that I have. I am thinking about in my mind whether or not I want to get rid of the 30K stuff. I haven't quite made my mind up on that yet. Since I just bought it and I barely got to play it, but like twice. So I'm like, Now, the one thing that will never be sold is my Sanguinius. My Forge World Sanguinius will never be sold. And mainly that's because it was a gift. James, that is I don't know. I literally don't know how I feel about that or if I care. I don't know that I'll buy it. I mean, here's the thing, and I've said this multiple times, and I'll keep saying it. I owned Hyperborea for like years before I even decided to run it, right? And now that I've started running it, it's like not only are the players having a blast, I'm having a blast. Because I never really could get my players to get super into like Lovecraft and stuff. But with Hyperborea, I get my Lovecraft, R.E. Howard type fix, that old pulp weird shit fix. And my players, they like the fact that the rules are very much similar to D. So everyone right now at my table is kind of loving on Hyperborea pretty hard, you know, to the point that even though I sit here and talk about maybe I'll run this game in the future or maybe I'll run that game in the future, but honestly, guys, I don't think I will because I don't know if we'll ever not play Hyperborea. So, you know, there's that. Let's see. We got a DM Bloodworth dropping in. How are
Hey,
you,
James,
sir?
how's it going?
Oh, well, I'm just building some miniatures and telling people that I don't think I'll ever play another game but Hyperborea.
Yeah, I know. I was just catching up on you. I just saw that you were on. I just finished doing a quick video myself, and I was like, all right, let me check in on James before the wife comes home or asks me to go meet her for dinner or whatever. And but an interesting question. So, like, you're talking about whether or not you'll buy a supplement for another game system, and I'm exactly in the same position that you are when I'm looking at Troll Lord Games just came out with the volume 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the Castle Greyhawk
Right.
expansions or mega dungeon kind of thing. And as much as I love their stuff, and I'm a big fan of Troll Lord Games, I'm not a big fan of mega dungeons, and so I'm like scratching my head wondering, it's like, well, do I really want to, drop down, probably close to like $300 for everything, and I'm like, no, I'm just not there. Now, the Necrotic Gnome thing, the Demons and Devils expansion for OSE, which I really do enjoy, and I will get the new, I think it's the one volume book that they're putting out, soon, or going to Kickstarter or Backer Kit very soon on it. I'll probably back that. Um, but I just don't see buying expansions to game systems like you were saying that, I probably won't get around to playing anytime soon. And even though I'm currently running an OSC campaign, it is not anywhere close to the time frame that I would be introducing demons and devils and that kind of thing as well. That could be a year or more down the road, and by that point, it's like, all right, so something's going to sit on my shelf for 2 years, let's say, before I get around to doing it. And yeah, that's just where I'm at, pretty much the same place that you are. It's like I do have things on my shelf that I haven't run yet, and it's been there in some cases for like years, 5, 6, 7 years.
Well, the other thing for me is yes, I'm sure the OSC Demon book is going to be awesome. The layout and everything,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be awesome. But I have the basic monster tomes that they
Mm-hmm. Right. Oh, you froze.
I'm talking about.
Oh,
Like they put out a whole book out. Yeah, so they've got a whole book on dragons, a whole book on everything. So I have all these BX monster books, which work 100% without even having to
yeah.
change anything with OSE. And so you got that. And with Hyperborea, if I really wanted to, I could bust out like the Wilderness Survival Guide, Dungeoneer Survival Guide.
Mhm.
I could let the players in Hyperborea have proficiencies.
Yeah.
No, I really could. It wouldn't change anything, really.
Right.
So I feel you, man. It's like, on the one hand, you want to support the companies that deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
And Troll Lord Games deserves to be supported. Those guys are great guys. They got their heads on straight and they make a good product.
Right.
But on the other hand, it's like, but do I want to spend all this money on something I know I'm never going to use?
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's
You know?
exactly it. It's like, when they put out things that, I know I'm going to use, I'm buying it. if they're putting out stuff that I'm fairly certain I'm not going to use, even in part, I'm not going to use, I'm not going to buy it.
See, I'm sometimes one way and sometimes the other.
Mhm.
I knew for a fact I was never going to probably start running Castles and Crusades, but when they come out with the homage covers, I bought all of them
Yeah,
just so I could look at them and have
yeah,
them on the shelf and be like, "Damn, those are really cool." You
yeah,
know what I
they
mean?
are.
But I'm not going to run, and it's
Yeah,
not because I dislike Castles and Crusades, but more because there's a couple other fantasy games I like better.
yeah. Well, which ones do
Adventure
you like
Conquer
better? Because
King.
I know I'm going back to Castles and Crusades, although I'm tweaking it, to my own liking. But I am going back to Castles and Crusades. So, um, I mean,
It's a great game.
OSC is a great game system, but to me, it's still a very much a BX game system. Even it's advanced, it's supposed advanced is it's still not as advanced as Castles and Crusades is.
Yeah, OSC. The OSC Advanced is basically take all the ideas from AD&D that people like, and then like convert them to BX. That's all they did.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, hey, do you want to play where race and class are separate? Here's how you do it. And
yeah,
it's still
yeah. That's
BX
what I'm saying.
rules.
It's like it's not, it's still not the same as either Castles and Crusades or it's BX trying to be AD&D. Basically,
And if
it's
you're like me in my campaign, I actually did away with the percentile thief skills and adopted the die 6 thief skills from the first carrion crawler,
right,
where everyone starts with a 1 in 6 chance of doing a thing, and at first level you get 4 points to divide however you want,
right.
and every time you level you get 2 more points. So a character can start the game as a first level thief with a 5 in 6 chance of being able to do one thing, but then a 1 in 6 chance of
Yeah,
everything else.
and everything else, right?
Hey, Diversity and Dragons, how you doing, bro?
Hey, how's it going?
Um,
Yeah, I'm
but I'm
I'm
just
kind of
having
on the
so
fence
much
of
fun
yeah,
with
I'm kind of on the
Hyperborea.
fence with Thieves skills with AD&D or Dungeons and Dragons in general, going from percentile to the D6 for certain things. I kind of like a unified system where you just go across the board, you do one or the other, and you go with that.
I'm sure you read Hyperborea, and Hyperborea is
Yeah,
die 12.
yeah. So I like systems where it does have a uniform dice system. Um, I always liked Frank Metzner's Jack of all trades from the
Right.
Plaza, because that gave you some flexibility where it's like, well, you know what? How often am I going to pickpocket? I'm going to take those, I think you could borrow up to like 10 or 15% per level and move them about and spend them as you wish. And then you would gain like something like 35 skill points for your thief skills to deposit those in. I'm pretty sure it was like five percentile blocks of doing that. So I think that made a much more focused thief on what you were looking to be as a thief. You know what I'm saying? So if you wanted to be a lock picking specialist, even at first level, well, you could
put your
certainly
points
do
into
so by
lock picking.
sacrificing some of the others, and I like that flexibility.
Yeah. Go hard into lock picking and also be a dwarf.
Yeah,
Dwarves
yeah, and
got
then
like a
you're like a
bonus
super
to,
lock picker, right?
no, I like I said, and I've said this on Diversity and Dragons channel in chats. It's like I owned the Hyperborea books for years before I actually sat down and read them, because I
Right.
just ordered the Kickstarter for no
Mhm.
good reason. I was like, oh, okay, I'll get the collector's editions and whatever, and I did it, and then I kind of looked through them and I put them on a shelf, and then like you know, maybe it's been a year or two later. I don't even know. I started looking at them, and I was just like, holy, this is exactly what
Yeah.
I want.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we've had so much wild, kind of wacky stuff happen at the table already
Mhm.
that the game is actually fun for me to run
Yeah, that's good.
because of all the weird stuff that can
Yeah.
happen. It keeps me interested.
Right.
And on top of that, I'm a huge fan of Clark Ashton Smith and Lovecraft and
Mhm.
Howard.
Right.
So it's right up my alley, you know.
Yeah. Well,
But I'm not saying it's the greatest game ever made, but I'm just saying it's a great game with a great setting.
yeah, and you enjoy it. The one thing with Hyperborea is that it's a game system for that setting. You can't use it elsewhere. It's like
Yeah,
it is so intertwined with that setting that
it
to
would
try to take the
truly be a
system
little difficult.
outside of it is
Yeah.
just not going to, it's just not going to work.
Well,
I can't wait
another of
till he
my
comes
favorite
out.
games is the
He
same
is
way
coming
too.
out
Adventure
with the
Comfort
source
Inn.
book for the main city. So, to have that city source book, that is a definite, I don't care if I'm running Hyperborea or not. I'm buying that setting book.
Oh, the Cremorium.
Yeah, yeah.
Cremorium. I do that with a lot of games. Order on. Yeah. Um, that is going to be important because in the Hyperborea game, you could literally run a whole game just in that city.
Yeah.
The city's huge, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of places you could adventure in the city. Like there's a whole chunk of blocks of the city that have been flooded.
Mm.
So only the top floors of the buildings are exposed, and all
Right.
the basements and shit are underwater, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
doing
it's
something.
really interesting.
I'm doing something very similar with Greyhawk, where I'm creating my own campaign for it. I have some awesome city maps that they had, online. Various homebrew sites and everything. They created these expansive, city maps and everything, from location maps to the sewer and undercity maps and all kinds of stuff. So I'm gathering all of this stuff, and very much like you said with Comorium, or however you put. I always forget how to pronounce that word.
I don't worry about it.
But
I'm just like,
yeah, no matter
that
how,
big
like
city.
when I'm looking at the big city there, like Greyhawk is a fairly big city.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, you know what? I could probably run a full campaign that lasts months, if not years, and they never have to set foot outside the city. All right. And I'm doing a few things, tweaking it here and there. So I'm like, well, when Zagig was the Lord Mayor of the place, and then ascended to demigodhood, he was so insane that he left some parting gifts for the city of Greyhawk. And some of those gifts was just kind of like chaotic magic in certain areas. So you have certain sections of the city where the blocks are never the same from one day to the next. And so there's pocket dimensions, here and there throughout the city and everything. So it just allows me to continue to expand, the through that chaotic nature of the magic left behind. That you can walk into a shed that's in someone's backyard, and now there's a 3-layer complex, a dungeon complex inside that shed. That you'll never, now whether you shrunk down to the size to fit in it, or it is quite frankly a pocket dimension, is up for debate. But the point is that you can build a long lasting campaign in just one city setting. I mean, they did the same thing with Lankmar, in second edition. I believe it was released.
Yep.
And so actually it was in first edition too, but it was a box set with second edition. So I think they expanded upon it.
Because in first edition, it was one of the big gray adventures. in first edition, it was a big gray adventure, and it
Yeah,
had like
yeah, it was
everything about
just
Lankmire and the gods of
yeah,
Lankmire and ghouls and the giant orcas that lived in the swamps and had legs and all kinds of crazy shit. I think they just called them swamp beasts. But Goodman Games put out not only a massive box set for Lankmire, but like 10 or 20 adventures specifically
yeah,
set in Lankmire.
yeah.
So if you look at Cremorium, and it's pretty obvious Cremorium is based on Lankmire
Hmm.
to some degree or another.
Right.
And it's a huge city.
Yes.
So, yeah, you could absolutely run any number of characters doing any number of things just
Hmm.
in the city.
Right.
And with Hyperborea, because there's so many different ethnicities and some people like each other and some
And
people
factions,
don't.
right? Yeah.
There's, yeah, the factions and the gods, and which aren't even gods, but whatever.
Mhm.
I mean, like, what happens if you're a Norse person and you wander into the Celtic neighborhood?
Right.
Because Celts don't like you guys. You
Yeah.
just burnt their capital city down like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And the Hyperboreans, wherever they are, they don't want anybody in their area.
Right.
And vice versa. So, I
Mhm.
mean, and in Cremoria, there's basically a temple to every one of the gods, great old ones, whatever the hell they
Mhm.
are. Some of them are hidden in sewers, but they're still there. So
Yeah.
you got that faction play going, and Greyhawk could be just the same.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm
100%.
literally piecing it together. I mean, there's like something like 40 or 50 guilds that are in Greyhawk. Again, just finding stuff on, online. 40 or 50 guilds, and you have the Circle of Eight that's still there, and you have you know, you have the oligarchy that is all set up. So it's like, I'm just kicking off around. I know I was talking to the Greyhawk Grognard, and I told him, I was like, I'm starting the I'm starting the timeline in 598. So I think like 600 is the last date that they actually put there, because I don't like when I'm using a setting, an established setting. I don't like to insert a campaign within the timelines that are already there, because then you have to worry about, well, what's the lore ramifications of this?
I ignore it.
Huh?
I ignore it.
Yeah, no, you can, but I tend not to. It's just like I have a hang up with playing in the Middle Earth, during the Third Age, and it's like, how do you not avoid the whole fact that the lore of the ring, Lord of the War of the Ring, is going on at the same time? It's like, how do you navigate that? And I even had that problem um, with the MMO, right? So Lord of the Rings Online, when you're playing that, it's like they have that going on, but it's kind of parallel to what you're doing, and it's kind of weird. It's like, every once in a while, those characters will make a cameo, in
Right.
your thing, but it's like, how do they, you know, it's just a weird thing,
Yeah.
for me to try to insert it. I'm like, nah, I kind of, don't like to suspend that much belief into what is going on. I like to have it clean, influenced by what happened in the past, but not without stepping on it. Oh, let me see.
Well, one thing I
Um,
want to say real quick, just to chat, Dean File, that adventure you're describing exists. It's called Realms of Adventure, I think, and it's
mhm.
based on the SSI computer game Polar Radiance. And you, as the players, arrive on the docks of
Mhm.
the Northern Moon Sea, and the whole city of Flan has been conquered by monsters, except for that one little area where the
Yeah.
docks are. And you get paid to go in and clear out each area, and
Yeah.
it gets harder and harder, and it's kind of easy to run because each neighborhood is surrounded by like a tall wall. with only so many gates in and out of different neighborhoods. And and eventually you cross the river that runs through Flan, and you go either to the graveyard, which is horrible, or you might go into the other side where there's an old abandoned keep and try to clear the keep out. And every time you clear an area out, then the city sends people in to kind of hold it. So, yeah. So the first place you would encounter would be the slums, which are overran with goblins.
Mm-hmm.
And if you clear all those goblins out of the slums, then the slums actually become guarded and patrolled by the city.
Right.
And then you can move on to the next place. I played a shit ton of SSI games back when the Commodore 64 was considered like the height of gaming technology. And to this day, I still have it on my gaming computer from GOG.
Mm.
I just wish somebody would fix the actual controls a little bit. But the game itself is amazing. It's a great game.
Yeah.
And then TSR put out a module, which they should have called Pools of Radiance, but they didn't. They called it like I said, Realms of Adventure or some shit.
Yeah.
But it's just exactly Pools of Radiance. As a matter of fact, Timmy was playing in that campaign for the longest time. And he was talking about, because that's why his DM, that was their whole game for like a year, was clearing Flan. But
yeah, for the first time I actually listened to Pool of Radiance, on an audiobook.
Yeah.
I pretty much enjoyed it. I was like, that's pretty cool. I bought all 3 novels, the day after he passed, so it was like, all right, let me get these before they become on you can't get them.
Right.
So they're one of the few novels I bought both in in physical copy and then on audio, so I can actually listen to them, because I don't have time to read. I have plenty of time to listen to. So
Ruins of Adventure.
I've been trying to get myself through Swords and Deviltry.
I never even knew there were novels, Bloodworth.
Oh, for the Pool of Radiance?
Yeah, I never even knew that.
Yes, I got them. I got them right here.
And Bruce corrected me. It's called Ruins of Adventure, but it is Pool of Radiance.
So there's the first one.
Oh, neat. That was the cover of the Pool of Radiance game.
Yeah. And then this one, I think, is number 2. Haven't gone through that yet.
Pools of Darkness was a game they released much later.
And then Pools of Twilight.
That one, I don't know if there ever was a game. Is that Bone Demon on there? Getting ready to get him?
Yeah, there's a demon on there.
It looks like an AD.
Or like a Bone Devil. No, actually, I think it's a Bone Devil, because it has a scorpion. Yeah. It's got a scorpion tail on it.
Yeah, it looks like the Bone Devil.
Yeah, so that's a Bone Devil.
Yeah. So I didn't know
it was a decent enough book. I like some of the characters I wasn't too crazy about. But it was certainly a decent book. I enjoyed it. Now I'm trying to listen through Sword and Deviltry, and I'm like, thank God I got through the 3 hours of Fafhrd story, which was boring as hell, until like the last 20 minutes or so, of it, when he finally got into some fighting.
Marry that woman?
What's that?
You didn't like how he's supposed to marry that woman, and all the ice witches were putting curses on him and shit?
I could not stand the first 3 hours of that book. I was like, I'm sitting there scratching my head saying, what is all the hype about? Why is this in Appendix N? Why is this something that people are, this is so incredible? I'm hoping that it gets a lot better. I think I finally got through. That's the other thing, is they don't have it broken down into chapters. Right. And when I'm driving, I like to be able to, all right, I'm like 15 minutes from work, and the chapter is coming to a close, so I'll finish up this chapter, I'll pick it up when I leave. No, the one section that went through was like 3 hours long. I was like, oh my God, there's no stops in this whatsoever. and it was all boring as hell. So I know that I'm going to be hard pressed in buying the second book in that series unless it really picks up. And the Gray Mouser story is a much more engaging.
I ain't saying anything.
Can't say anything.
I mean,
I know Shadow was like, "Are you crazy?" When I was like, I'm not enjoying it at all. I don't think it's a great book at all. You know, I said it would certainly not be in my top 20. That's for
my
damn
man
sure.
Shadow, he's old school, man.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm equally old school. I just don't, there's certain things that I'm like, wow, that's just not, not in my liking at all.
See, I don't know if you would like it, and you won't know until you try it out. But Clark Ashton Smith has a number of shortish stories.
Yeah, I have his anthology,
the Hyperborean Chronicles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have the anthology. I'm going through that as well.
Some of them were really good.
Yeah, there were some that are really good. I mean, he's no Robert E. Howard.
No one describes combat the way Howard does.
Yeah, so he's no Robert E. Howard. It's like, all right, there's some stories that I kind of like. What I was really impressed with was Paul Anderson. That first, what was it? 3 Lions and 3 Hearts. 3 Lions and Hearts, right? So the first book.
That's where the Paladin class comes from.
Yeah, that's where the Paladin class. That was a good book. That I really enjoyed. And I like the way that it interwoven the Arthurian, some of the Arthurian characters in there too. So that was well done. And I like that. And I even like the fact that they made it where he's like a time, like he travels through time. I keep on going back into that kind of thing. And that's where you have the crossover between the fantastic world and the real world, and he was like, I think in the story, it was like he was fighting in World War I, and then all of a sudden he woke up, in the Arthurian world. And then once he accomplished what he was supposed to do there, he would get transported back to the real world again, but maybe in a different time period, and always get sucked back to the fantasy realm when he was needed. It was a really cool story. So I was like, all right, that I can see why it's an Appendix N.
Prince of Amber starts out with Corwin fighting in World War I.
Say again?
Princes of Amber starts out with Corwin, I believe is his name, fighting in World War I.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, he finds out he's one of the however many princes of Amber. And Amber's like this giant multi-dimensional kerfluffle where all of the cousins are trying to kill each other like all the time. Because, it's just the way it is. And it's I only read Princes of Amber, but Shadow knew the guy who wrote it.
Yeah.
Like they hung out. So he is a huge fan of the Amber series.
Yeah.
If I had my own Appendix N for like my game, honestly, it would mostly just be Lovecraft, Howard, Ashton Smith, Dunsany. I think I would also definitely have what's his name in there. Let me think. I'm thinking of the name. Well, Robert, the guy who wrote Sword of Shannara would be in.
Terry Brooks.
And I don't think I know of anyone else.
I wouldn't put Terry Brooks in there at all. I hated Sword of Shannara. I got through less than a handful of pages before I set it down.
When the troll
and I haven't touched it since. So that was about 40 years ago, and I haven't touched it since.
14-year-old James literally shed tears when the troll died.
Yeah, I didn't read it. I would put, like, if I had my Appendix N, I think I did a video one time of like my Appendix N. So yeah, Howard is definitely in there. You know, I obviously
Yeah, you gotta have
Lovecraft.
Howard.
Yeah, so Howard,
That's
Lovecraft. I I would still have to go with Margaret Weiss. Blah, can't talk today. Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman. I just love the
well, I mean,
Dragonlance
the
series.
Dragonlance books were actually really, really good.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't
No,
enjoy
the first
mentioning the
the
setting, but I
first
love the
six
premise.
were great. I never went beyond the first six, but the first
Me
six
neither.
books, especially the first three, were great. So they're definitely in there. I
Funnily enough, they're
I mean
like,
Tolkien. Obviously, I didn't mention Tolkien yet. Tolkien would be before Weiss and Hickman.
see, I didn't even mention Tolkien
Yeah,
because
yeah. Tolkien
Tolkien
would
does
be in
not
there.
influence my
I
campaign.
I think even though he's not the greatest of writers, I think that you have to have Gygax in there.
He
You
kind
know,
of did.
you have to have Gygax in there.
I have all the Gord the Rogue novels.
Yeah, yeah.
Like three of them are
I have
signed.
all of his novels. I'm actually waiting for another one to come in very shortly. I should be getting that soon
Yeah,
because
that's
there was
mine are
another
braggable because
anthology
three of them
book.
are signed by Gary Gygax.
Yeah, there was another anthology book. God, that should have came already. Let me see. I have to look eBay. Let me do a tracking on that. I'm surprised it hasn't arrived yet.
Yeah, not necessarily the greatest writer, but still incredibly important.
Yeah, I think he's you know, I think his books on writing are incredibly, you know, his
Yeah.
books on playing are incredibly important.
Do you know who I forgot that would definitely go? Fritz Lieber. He did Empire.
Yes,
Beast
I like
and
Fritz
Thor
Lieber.
trilogy. He's got to be in there.
No, not Fritz Lieber. I'm not talking about Fritz Lieber. I'm talking about let's see. Let me track this package. It's still on its way. It's not even out for delivery. This thing's shipped on. Oh, it says it's going to arrive on the 14th. All right. I got a book which I wasn't sure of. It's called Night Watch. Murder by Magic by Robin Wayne Bailey. 1990 TSR. So it's a bunch of Greyhawk centered stories.
That's cool.
So I was like, all right, that's cool. An anthology. So anyway, back to my list. I mean, then I have some other like pretty like obscure authors that I really did enjoy. But most of them like Star Wars authors. Like I love the Darth Bane books. Who's that by Daniel Quapitz or something like that?
The only extracurricular Star Wars book I ever read was Han Solo at Star's End.
Let's see who else does. Timothy Zahn did the Thrawn trilogy. That was really good. Timothy Zahn is a good author as well. I like some of Michael Stackpool's stuff. But again, all of that is Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff that they put on there isn't my cup of tea, but I've read some of it, like Jack Vance. I've read Jack Vance. I've read Fritz Lieber. I've read a lot of. I've probably read almost everything on Appendix N, but a lot of it I just wasn't impressed with. I was like, well, I mean, it's okay.
Yeah.
But it's you know, I'm not like flipping out the way I did the first time I read like Empire of the East or, you know, my first Conan novel. Which my first Conan story I ever read was Phoenix on the Sword or whatever.
Yeah.
And I really liked that one.
Yeah,
And
so let's
but
see.
my favorite one is the one where he's a mercenary for Aquiloni, and he has to sneak across the river to kill a Pictish shaman.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a good one too. It's like Beyond the Thunder River, Beyond the Black River, or whatever it was called. And then Lovecraft has so many stories I like, but my favorite is At the Mountains of Madness. I just like the whole idea of the scientific exploration and everything goes wrong. You know, it's like
Yeah.
you're digging around and you found stuff you didn't want to find, and now there you are.
I tried listening to Michael Moorcock, Moorcock's Stormbringer, and that was another book that I was just like, I had a hard time with it. Yeah, wasn't like crazy for it.
I already mentioned Fred Saberhagen, Bruce. Empire of the East and the Sword books. I already mentioned them. Empire of the East is one of my favorite books of all time. It's a top 10. Anyone who hasn't read it should.
Yeah, Andrew
and
often wrote.
the weird thing about Empire of the East is it's actually set in the United States, but it's so far in the future it's not the United States anymore. It's the Empire of the East, and the main bad guy lives in like Florida or coastal Georgia or something like that. And when they finally meet him, he's just like the most normal, ordinary looking guy. And yet he had been controlling demons and doing all kinds of crazy shit. You know, there's one part of it, which if you're an army guy, this is funny. Where according to the prophecy, there will be a man who will ride the elephant, and the elephant will destroy some satrap or something. And the main character goes into this giant cave and finds a damn tank. And stenciled on the side of it is the numbers plus an elephant head. And I'm like, well, that's 464 armor. They were literally right down the street from us, and their symbol was an elephant. It's like, well, there you go. Hey, Janet, how you doing? And ate the toast. Well, toast is good. I don't know. Maybe you subscribe to this channel because Razor Fist told you to. That's possible. Because a lot of the time I talk BattleTech, and me and Razor Fist, or as I should say, Razor Fist and I, we play the same house, and we're both BattleTech fans. So that's how that connects.
Man, I haven't watched Razor Fist in a long time.
You know what? He still kicks ass. He's still just, I remember watching when he sat in a tiny little room and all he talked about really was like old video game cartridges. So that's like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe more. But I like his political takes for the most part. I like his presentation. I mean,
his movie takes are awesome. I love his movie takes.
And his history takes are great. His music takes are great. So anyway, we've established he's pretty awesome. We love him. But he plays BattleTech, as do I. And we're both Free Worlds League, so the Purple Bird. And he more than once he's called my channel out and told his fans if they felt like it, come over and subscribe. So yeah, this is not the first time somebody's like, "What am I doing here?"
Yeah,
like, Razor Fist sent you. Like I think that's how Mobius ended up on my channel. Razor Fist sent him like 5 years ago or something. And then he just started hanging out. Janet, I'm so disappointed in you, ma'am. Not that my disappointment matters, but I just want you to know I'm incredibly disappointed. I'll still be your friend, though, because I'm not that kind of asshole. But my disappointment knows no bounds. But, yeah. She didn't like Willy's Wonderland. She actually got up in the theater and left. Willy's Wonderland is, I think, one of the best movies made in the last 10 years. I'm like, how could you not like that? It's got Nicolas Cage in it. And he's beating the shit out of animatronics. And he never talks. And it's like, and some people say the fact that he never talks is kind of a knock on the movie, but freaking Mel Gibson in Road Warrior 2, Mad Max 2 Road Warrior, he only had 12 words in the whole damn movie. He said like 12 words. Yeah, he basically told the boy that he couldn't come with him. And he basically told the guys in the camp, I saw a truck a while back that could haul that load. So if you talk to me, and that is it. You know what I mean? Like the whole movie, he just never didn't need to, though. The movie stood on its own. He didn't need to blabber on about shit. You just knew. From after the little, tribes going to war over the black fuel or whatever, and then as soon as you see that freaking turbo spinning and it pans back and you see the interceptor and the guys on the bikes behind them, like that movie grabs you by the short and curlies right off the bat and doesn't let go. It's good. It's a good movie. It's a little harsh though. I wouldn't have my young children watching it or anything. There's some bad parts, but good movie. But what else do you got for your appendix? Because my appendix in was so short. It was like six writers.
I mean, I would still like Lord Dunsany. I read Pangea, and that was really incredible. Reading that whole, I don't know if it's not quite a poem. It's I guess too long for a poem, but it's that was really interesting. So I like that.
You want to know something funny?
Say again?
You want to hear something kind of funny? You probably know though. All of the beings he mentions in that poem are Lovecraftian gods. Before Lovecraft even wrote. When he talks about the one death and whatever his name is.
Yeah.
He is he, and the idiot god, and the trickster. That Lovecraft was highly inspired by that poem.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that they were.
And he wrote another book about two men canoeing down a river in Austria and camping over the night on an island full of willow trees. And it's even Lovecraft said the first cosmic horror story. You know what I mean? Because like everything started getting weird. And so, yeah. But I've saw that poem too, where it starts out with these beings and they decide to create stuff, and then things happen.
Yeah, I gotta check my list here of books that I have in my library that I've listened to, or
I think you and I might.
So I just picked up. I haven't started listening to it yet, but I have the Nine Princes in Amber.
So that's next up. Is the one I was talking about. It starts out with Corwin and World War.
Yeah, that's next up in my list.
You may really love that. I have
Clark Ashton Smith's The End of the Story, which that's an anthology.
You may really like the Amber books. It's like I read the first one. I thought, wow, that's really good. But like my brother absolutely adores them. He's read all of them. He thinks they're just the best. And Shadow, of course, will talk your ear off about the Amber books forever.
See, I have a hard time not including in my appendix and sci-fi. Like it's got to be in my list too, so it can't just be. I think Gary's is only. Might be only. No, because the Mars series is science fiction. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Mars. So he's not excluded. I mean, it's mostly, but looking at these,
I mean,
I don't even know some of them actually. So Edgar Rice Burroughs. That's one I haven't. I should pick up one of the books and just like listen to the first like Tarzan book. because I'll probably like that better than some of the others.
Well, the original Tarzan was kind of, to certain tribes, an asshole.
Mm,
He had like some of the black tribes that he was friends with, but some of the black tribes he would like hide in the trees and like lasso them up and like hang them from trees and stuff.
mm.
It just depended. I mean, it was written by a guy who was basically doing pulp stories, kind of like R.E. Howard and stuff. So the Tarzan of the original books is not the Tarzan from the TV show or any of the movies. He's pretty brutal. He runs around killing people. And the Mars books, I would say, are just pure sci-fi. There's really no magic in those books at all.
Yeah.
Everything that happens, whether it's the Thurn or whatever, it's all technology. It's just technology that a lot of them don't understand. But, like their ships fly for an actual scientific reason. There's a reason they fly. And it's not magic. So yeah, that is, I would say, is absolutely just straight up sci-fi. Not that I think anyone questioned that, but I'm going to throw my 2 cents in because
So this is what I have in my playlist here. So I have the best of Glenn Cook.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Ultimate Science Fiction Mega Collection, which is like Philip Dick and Mary Shelley and Isaac Asimov and everything. So a lot of anthology. These are all for just driving, right?
Right.
So I have Leviathan Wakes. That's the Expanse, basically. So I have like 2 or 3 of those, 2 of those books. I have Leviathan Awakes. I think that's the first one, and then Caliban's War, or vice versa. I have The Crown and the Sword by Douglas Niles.
Yep.
Then Robert E. Howard. I have the Conquering Sword, The Bloody Crown. I have the Poetic Ada in there. That's just the Asatru stuff.
Yeah, Norse stuff.
Dragons of Deceit, which was one of the newest of the Margaret Weiss, Tracy Hickman Dragonlance series, and I hated the prime character of that, the main character of it. I have Songs of Dying Earth, which is not by, I think it's an anthology. Pools of Radiance, The Silmarillion, Game Wizards, which I'm going to remove. Why is that locked? That's weird.
Silmarillion. That is some heavy stuff, right?
And it's like I listened to the whole thing, and there's parts of it I was like, wow, elves are really assholes. Number one.
Well, yeah, there's that whole the kinslaying time.
Yeah. The elves are really assholes.
And they just
I was like, oh, it wasn't just the wood elves in Mirkwood that were assholes. There were a whole bunch of them that were.
Yeah, they were fighting each other, and then
they were
chose to serve.
They were killing their brothers and sisters if it meant expedited their gaining the throne.
Right.
But anyway, then I have Game Wizards. Yeah, for some reason that one's locked. That's weird. It's got like a little lock on it. I wonder why. But anyway, The Coming of Conan, Taylor Steve Costigan, Robert E. Howard. So I have the first Elric book.
Everyone yelled at me about how dare you, having never read Moorcock. So I got it and I listened to the whole story, and at the end I was like, yeah, that sucked.
Yeah, it's just hard to follow. It's hard to really care about him.
Yep.
You know what he reminded me of was he reminded me of the character in Ralph Bakshi's Fire and Ice.
Right.
Very similar, like just kind of
reminds you of Necron.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like exactly the same character. The Templar Chronicles. So this is an urban fantasy. And that's by Joseph Nerys. Those were really good.
Cool.
Those were really, really cool. Basically, he's like a detective and he goes to hell to retrieve his wife's, it's not quite her soul, but they like dragged her body through the threshold and down there. So she's like on she's on the plane of hell where Charon is, and he has to go there to try to bring her back. And I think she does die when she's there. And then it's like a great series. So that's the Templar Chronicles. Those are really, really good.
Yeah, sounds really cool.
William Gibson is a definite in my list. From Neuromancer to to others. Philip Jose Farmer is definitely in my list. Again, Douglas Niles, I have a few of his books. Those are always good. Craig Allenson is that's The Expanse again.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Dean, what's funny is I sit here and I say how I didn't like those books or Elric. Mm-hmm. And yet I'm playing Hyperborea, where one of the classes is just directly a Melon Bomain.
Yeah.
They're giant albino guys with purple eyes that tend to be thin and lanky. I mean, so it's like I'm kind of, Elric is represented by how they describe the original Hyperboreans. But
I think Elric is kind of
like Moorcock. I didn't like
carried by the comics. Yeah, he's probably a character much more popular in the comics than he was in the novels.
The only part of that story I remember actually thinking was kind of cool was the city where everyone was a mercenary or mage or something, and they all had tattoos on their body that showed which kind of guild they were in. Mm-hmm. And like one group he dealt with, they had tattoos on their eyelids and whatever. And I thought, well, that's kind of neat. Kane from Wagner yet? No. Mm-hmm. No. The only Kane I know is Kane from WWF, WWE, whatever it is now. But we're just talking about books, Bautech and Hyperborea mostly. So, yeah, my appendix N would probably be 10 books or 10 writers. I might throw Tolkien in there just because of how important he is to the genre of fantasy, but none of my campaigns ever have anything to do with Tolkien. And it's not that I don't love him, because I do absolutely love the books he wrote. I've read Farmer, Giles of Ham. I've read all of his stuff. I've even read some of his letters, but when I made my homebrew campaign, there were not even halflings in the campaign. And my elves were totally different than the angelic elves he writes about. Mine were pretty much assholes that hated humans.
Hello.
I have not, sir. And I mean, I'll take your word. I'll look into it. I've got like 10 or 12 points on my Audible right now. So I can pretty much get any books I want, because my beloved brother bought me an Audible account, but I only check it about every 3 months.
So yeah, that's what I'm going through my Audible account, because I had like 8 points to spend. And they keep on sending me these things. Now they're finally coming down. It was at 9 forever, and I think it was like because I stopped the subscription. Once I was already at like 10, and I was like, I don't even have 10 novels I want to listen to right now. And then I was like, all right, let me start going through, and grabbing this here or there that I haven't tried out yet, and that's why I still have like about 3 novels I haven't even started. And I still have 8 credits left to buy some more. So I'm always on the lookout for something new. But
I have to brag. Most of my Audible books are college
textbooks?
Kind of, but no, they're like a college. What's it when the professor gets up and talks for like hours?
Lectures.
Yeah, I have a
or
lot of lectures.
seminars?
Yeah, I have a lot of lectures, mostly about Eastern Rome,
Hmm.
so Byzantium and all that. And I've got a couple from a guy named Dr. Lyman, who is like a hardcore physicist.
Hmm.
You know, he's the one that goes into the idea of how we can never have actual space travel. It's just because of the weird paradox of fuel and mass.
Yeah.
Like a ship can never have enough fuel to power the engine to push the mass, because the more fuel you add, the more mass you add. And it just keeps going back and forth until you're aft.
So concerning Appendix N, are we allowed to add video games there?
Well, I mean, if
At
you're going to
least,
say Polar Radiance, I would say that's already been mentioned.
okay, that was not the one. So mine was going to be not for the story, but Final Fantasy 12, because of the world they put up and also how they, how should we say, kind of have like a before World War One kind of world, but not quite Victorian either.
I
Oh,
They
don't
still
think
have a lot of
anything
medieval
Japanese
elements.
should be allowed.
So what?
I have to run, guys.
Okay, I'll catch you
Oh, it's
later.
been fun.
Yeah,
You have a good one.
Dean, I don't think anything Japanese should be allowed.
All right, that's fair.
Now, in L5R, I would say, yeah. I mean, because one of the first books L5R tells you to read is the Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. But no, I don't know. I'm not in charge of your Appendix N. You can put whatever you want on it, homie.
Yeah.
Knock yourself out. If
But
you
yeah,
think
yeah,
Final Fantasy
I
was
put
that
that
good,
one.
put it on your list.
Yeah, I put that specifically there because of the world building uh, and the design, because like it's really a awesome, what do you call it, like Middle Eastern Spanish and English aesthetic they have there.
That sounds cool.
The problem is just the game itself.
I haven't played Final Fantasy since like Final Fantasy 3, but I'm not counting the MMO, which I did play a little while with Hungar. I think he might still play it. And yeah, Shardenzar, I saw that. Nope, never read any of his stuff.
Yeah, the only Kane I know is Citizen Kane.
And I know Kane the wrestler, who
And then
is,
there's also
according to the rules, related to the Undertaker.
and then there is also which we have to mention because of Jimmy, but Kane from Commander and Conquer.
Oh yeah, if Timmy was here, he'd be jumping up and down about Kane from Commander and Conquer.
I mean, he is cool in large part to the actor, but yeah.
And then there is, of course, Kane. Was he the first or no second son of Adam, who killed his brother?
Yeah.
Yeah, but nope, don't know that Kane.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, and still freaking loving Hyperborea. I'm so hooked with Hyperborea. Like I said, I don't think I'll end up running anything else. Probably.
That's okay.
Yeah, that is okay. It's okay. Everyone at the table likes it. We're having a blast. I like it. It's okay. You know, it's just is what it is. And if other people got games they like to play, more power to them. You know.
And welcome back, Bruce. How did your boss fight go?
Yeah, Bruce had a boss fight. Day World. Someone was trying to get me to read all of these Ring World books and stuff like that. I think it's about a world that rests on the back of a turtle. No, the world rests on the back of elephants, and the elephants stand on the back of the turtle, and the turtle flies through space.
Yeah.
Or something.
Basically,
and I couldn't get into them.
Yeah, I forgot if it's his Buddhism he got that from, but yeah.
Right. Turtles all the way down.
But yeah, if you want a funny one and really make people mad, mistake what did you call it again?
Ringworld?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Wheel of Time for Ringworld.
Oh, yeah.
Interchange those two and see who gets mad first of the fandoms.
Yeah, that's not exactly the same thing at all.
Yeah.
Um,
Like I had fun doing that once. It's unintentionally because I just thought like, oh, something round. Yeah, Ringworld. But when it was apparently Wheel of Time.
one of the guys I game with a lot is like a huge fan of that whole kind of thing. But if you want to talk about fantasy that's funny, the Xanth novels.
The what?
Xanth. They all have different names, but they're all set in Xanth. And Xanth is usually depicted as the state of Florida, except it's fantasy. And then the border of Florida with Georgia, Georgia is Mundania. And Xanth is like a realm of magic. But sometimes Xanth is just a square kingdom. Yeah, it just depends on the guy who wrote it or girl. I don't even know how they were feeling that day when they wrote the map. You know what I mean? But Xanth is super weird fantasy where you got like golems that can speak every language and crabapple trees, which literally grow crabs. And there's one part of the book where this girl whose best friend was a dragon that breathed steam.
Yeah.
They were hungry, so they went to a crabapple tree, and Stanley Steamer steamed a bunch of the crabs.
Yeah, that's definitely not a tree you want to discover gravity under.
Well, I mean, if you got a steam-powered dragon, I mean, or a steam-breathing dragon, that's cool. Steam up some crab, you know? And they sat there eating steamed crab. And like the ruler is a wizard, and his wife's a Medusa that always wears a veil, and he lives on top of a hill, and like it's just a weird freaking fantasy series. And another great fantasy series are the Incarnations of Eternity, I think it's called. And my favorite one of those is On a Pale Horse. It's about how this losery ass loser becomes death and then gets in a big brawl with Satan over a woman's soul. As you do. But I mean, some of the deaths, basically in that one, except for God and maybe even including God, all of these beings we believe in, like war, nature, death, all of those things are actually mortals that did something and become that. And if you get killed by a mortal, then the other mortal, the mortal that killed you, gets to take over your job.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you read through the whole series of books, then like in On a Pale Horse, the guy who's Satan is not the Satan in like the Red God of War or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it changes, you know, depending. How you doing,
Tim? Timmy, I have already mentioned Kane from Command and Conquer, so you had to mention a different one.
Yep.
Kane from Vampire.
Yeah.
That's true. But I mentioned him as a guy who killed his brother. It is true in the vampire lore. The first vampire was Kane.
Yes.
Even though some heretics think it was Lilith, but my character would kill them on sight.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, how dare you, you know, become a heretic? But yeah, so I am opening up this box of Reaper miniatures that I got in.
I just got back from Texas Roadhouse.
Oh, nice. We found a Texas Roadhouse just opened near us. My wife is so excited because it's like her favorite restaurant.
Oh, fair. I kind of like it. It's not bad.
So, Bruce, I got gargoyles.
Nice.
Nice.
And Timmy, did you drive home or did you roll home?
Yeah. Yesterday, when we visited my in-laws, they took us out to barbecue. I swear to God, I was falling asleep in the parking lot on the way home. As soon as I sit down, I was just like, ate too much.
I guess it's a good thing we can't drive because I was about the same. Not that bad, but I was getting a little drowsy on the ride back.
Dude, you get those meat sweats, and you're just like, I feel it, man.
I was
yeah,
bringing
yeah.
steak, though.
Yeah, James, you're correct. It is Discworld, not
It's an
Ring World.
Discworld.
Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, James, thank you. Yeah, not Ring World, Discworld. Okay. I think there is a Ring World though, and it was written by like Larry Niven. And then they made a Magic card, and they called it Nevin Rawls Disc. So maybe that was the Discworld. Because Nevin Rawls Disc, you could tap to destroy everything on the table. So, it is a fun card. And by fun, I mean not really. Of course, because I play Hyperborea, I had to order a bunch of Killer Apes. Because there are whole sections of Hyperborea that are overrun by Killer Apes.
You just want to play Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, Okay, what in the hell is this? Oh, white.
I bet you're going to name one of them Dr. Zaius.
No. But apparently I ordered a bunch of whites. Because, hey, in B2 Keep on the Borderland, there's a chance to actually encounter 1-6 whites. So why not? Right?
Not Irish people, gotcha.
Yeah. What the Norse would call Draugr.
Yeah.
And then I picked this guy up, and I don't even know what he's supposed to be, but he looks really weird. And it's called the Crimson Herald. And he looks really weird, and he's kind of got tentacles and a book and a weird helmet. And I'm sitting here thinking, this guy could be some kind of really horrible undead guy or involved with the mythos in some way, or an alternative form of Nyarlathotep, So that's what I did. I bought a bunch of, and of course I bought these Cav Strike Operations vehicles for Bautech. And these are scout vehicles because, it's what you do.
Yeah, I just looked up the Crimson Herald. It looks cool.
Yeah, it's a cool miniature. And the thing I like about Reaper is most of the miniatures that I'm showing off cost like $4. And they come in like, unless it's a character or a bigger figure, a lot of times you get multiple figures in a pack. So, it looks like I accidentally ordered another Jakeson Greek warrior. And that's whatever, because the other day when we were chatting, I painted my Jakeson Greek warrior. Yeah, the Reaper Snake, man, which I actually went out of my way to buy Serpent Men that had legs, because for some reason I was like thinking in my brain that the Serpent Men had legs. And then I looked in the monster book, and lo and behold, they don't have legs. So they're more like a Yantai abomination than whatever I thought they were. So I've already painted up a ton of them, and I've got a ton more here to paint up. These guys. And they were dirt cheap from Reaper, man. Now I do have two metal ones. That one's like a leader and the other one's a mage to go with these though. Okay, Timmy, what were you getting ready to yell?
Nothing.
Speaking of yelling, I have to head out now.
Oh, say it, Paul.
Okay.
Someone at the door, not yelling for me, just like, hey, want to hang out, kind of yelling. So yeah, talk to you guys later.
Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah. So 2E players book. See me, I never got 2E, never even knew it existed. And one of the people who come into chat all the time was telling me Hyperborea was like the greatest thing ever. And I was like, whatever. And then when the Kickstarter happened for the 3rd edition or whatever, that's based on this one guy who was always saying this is so awesome. It might have even been Double D. I don't even know who it was. I decided to go all in on the 3rd edition because you couldn't get the 2nd edition for less than like $100 for the book. And which I ended up spending more on this, but yeah, I love this. I absolutely love this game. It is absolutely one of my top 5 favorite games of all time. We're playing it, and I'm running this game and just having the best time ever running a game, let alone the players who also love it. It's just, I mean, I could go on and on about this. It's just a weird game, but it's super cool. So sometimes people are like, oh my God, here we go, Hyperborea. But you know what? This is my damn channel. If I want to talk about Hyperborea for 2 hours, I will.
But hey, what about we talk about Castles and Crusades instead?
Well, I love Castles and Crusades, and that's where I will end it.
Oh,
I love Castles and Crusades. I have the first freaking printing.
nice.
So I was a super early adopter for Castles and Crusades. But it's not exactly what I like. And the reason is the stupidest reason. I don't like the siege system, which is the thing that makes Castles and Crusades actually Castles and Crusades.
Yeah, well, I'm guessing I don't think we're going to be using that siege system all that much in our game.
When I play Castles and Crusades, almost every single time, my good sir, I just use the proficiencies from the Dungeoneer's Handbook and the Wilderness Survival Guide.
I mean, we're playing an Urban Greyhawk campaign. I'm just
Yeah, I heard.
saying.
You just barely missed
Bloodsworth?
He was
Last
in the
night-
chat.
Yeah, last
But
night we were.
so that's what I did.
talking about
So
that.
I was basically playing Castles and Crusades, but I was ignoring the thing that actually makes it Castles and Crusades and just using AD&D proficiency. And a lot of people would be like, well, that's not how you're supposed to do it. And they would be right. They would be right. But it's how
Well,
I
they'll
did
be
it.
wrong because you're the DM and whatever you say goes.
Yeah, but if they were saying I wasn't doing it right, guess what? They're right. I was not actually playing Castles and Crusades by any of the rules, really. I made a weird hybridized Castles and Crusade AD&D game. Worked great.
Yep.
Everyone liked it. So there you go. Okay.
Oh, well, I'm going to be happy. I get to play an Arcane Thief, and that sounds fun.
Yeah, you've been going on about that Arcane Thief for a while.
Yeah, I finally got an image for the character.
I'm looking forward to like you joining my chat one time and just being like, man, my Arcane Thief died. And I'm just going to be like, wow,
He didn't have the squirrel that he needed.
that sucks.
Guess he didn't have the squirrel that he needed. You know,
Except,
James?
yeah, he didn't have the squirrel, or he had a bunch of potions stored in his ass and he fell down. And
Yeah.
no, we're not talking about GURPS, for God's sake.
No.
GURPS is one of the few role-playing games I couldn't play. And the reason none of us could play GURPS at my table is I tried to let the players make their characters. And the players were so worried that anything they picked would be the wrong thing that they just didn't pick anything. So you had people staring at that damn book trying to make a character for like 3 hours because they didn't know what. And I was finally like, nah, we're going back to D&D, man. This is not worth it, you know? As Connor called it, it was like analysis paralysis. Like the players just could not decide what they actually wanted. Now, if I had made characters for everybody, like random or something, it might have worked, I guess. But, you know, I mean, we could talk Rollmaster, which I actually enjoy, specifically the Middle Earth role-playing version of Rollmaster, and RuneQuest, which I enjoyed when I ran that. I ran 6th edition, and I originally
represent.
had like the 2nd or 3rd edition, and I didn't run it because I didn't like it. But then when I got the 6th edition, it turned out I did.
I like to represent the 3rd edition.
Yeah, so that was a weird one. You know, it's like I hate this. Now I love it.
I think a lot of people say they hate the Avalon Hill version, but I like the Avalon Hill version.
I think that's the one I had, the one that had the Vikings on the cover, like they were exploring some ruins or something.
If it's 6th edition, no, because 6th
No,
edition.
dude, I'm talking about. Was that 3rd or 2nd edition?
3rd, maybe, I don't know. Did it have Avalon Hill on it?
I don't know. It's been 25 years since I had that
I'm
box
sorry.
set.
I don't know
But
what's
on the cover of the box,
Okay,
there was
let
like
me
a
see.
male and a female Viking, and they were like walking up like this rubble, like up a
I can
hill.
figure it out here.
And I don't know who made it or whatever, but it looked cool. But I just, yeah, it just wasn't a thing we wanted to do. And at that time, we were still probably playing AD&D. That's the 3rd edition. Okay.
Okay, yeah, that is the 3rd edition.
I mean, I can't complain about it because I bought it used from like the Costume Comics for $2.
Hmm.
Just like the box I've showed off multiple times of my Middle Earth role playing, which is a 100% complete box, still has the cutouts and everything in it, and I bought it for $2 at the Costume Comics. My Traveler book from Classic Traveler, the hardbound Traveler book, I think I paid like $5 or $6 for that, because there was a time, which apparently has came back, when the Costume Comics took trades, and if stuff was beat up and in bad shape, they sold it dirt cheap. I know because they're getting ready to buy all of my 4th edition Warhammer stuff, which is, fortunately for me, in excellent condition, almost mint. So, you know.
I know I've only bought like 2 different books for D&D. One of them being like 6th edition RuneQuest, which, it's not as good as I'd hoped.
So, did you just say you bought 6th edition RuneQuest for D&D?
No, not like tabletop role playing.
See, that's a problem though, because we all say D&D when we don't mean D&D, but
Fair.
that makes D&D way more popular because, you know, I'm playing Hyperborea. I'm not playing D&D.
Yeah. Let's see. Then I also bought like a few books from Big Eye Small Mouth because I just found it funny.
You're a weeb. Don't worry about it. We know why you
I
do.
find it funny. It's funny. I'm never
You're
gonna play
a
it.
weeb.
I never would either. I don't think it's
You're
all
all
that
like,
good.
you're all like, I want to play Freyrin.
No, if I wanted to play Freyrin, I'd just play D&D. Like, it works out fine.
Well, you play Freyrin. I'll still play Himmel.
No, I wouldn't be Freyrin. I'd probably be Dankin.
You'd probably be the dwarf.
Or Dwarf, yeah. Dwarf would be fine.
What's his name?
Eisen.
Eisen. Which is just German for stone or iron.
Iron.
Iron, yeah.
Yeah.
So the
A lot
dwarf's
of-
name is literally Iron.
Yeah, each name is German for something that matches the character. Himmel is a German word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Freyrin is a German word.
I didn't know any of this.
They
But
all even match the character of the name. You know.
so anyway, and Bruce, I think he must have fell asleep or something.
Yeah.
Not a fan of the Die 20 system. I mean, I don't know. Steve, here's what I would like you to do, sir, is I would like you to say what you are a fan of as opposed to the Die 20 system. Because, I mean, it's okay to say I'm not a fan of that, but now I'm sitting here wondering, well, what are you a fan of? Oh yeah, me, Bloodworth. There, Double D. I mean, Double D's got the hat that's got the Sagwa on it. When you watch his channel, he's got the Hyperborea books behind him. I originally got the original 3rd edition. This is the 3rd reprinting that apparently fixed a bunch of shit I didn't even know needed fixed. So I got this and I gave the other ones to my brother-in-law because he's a gamer too, you know. And then my other brother-in-law has actually recently joined my table. He's the guy that plays the Greek in the group. Hit matrices. I'm trying to think. Like hit matrices, like romance,
Yeah, is that what that means? I don't know.
or AD&D had hit matrices, but everybody just ended up using THAC0 anyway. Which, unlike some people will argue THAC0's 2nd edition, it's absolutely not. If you open 1st edition AD&D Dungeon Master's Guide to the back, it specifically has the word THAC0, where it's describing all the monsters. You know, it gives you the stats of every monster in the DMG. So AD&D. Well, this game has a hit matrix too. And it's slightly different depending on whether you're a fighter, thief, or mage. But what this game does different is your hit matrix never changes.
I say boo on the descending AC.
This has descending AC.
I say armor should absorb damage.
Well, I mean, I like the idea of armor absorbing damage. This does. Is it making you want to play this, Tim?
Oh, I would like to play Hyperborea.
Because medium armor in this game automatically absorbs 1 point of damage. Heavy armor automatically absorbs 2, which means it can reduce a hit to 0 if the opponent rolled a 1. But what happens is, instead of your hit matrix changing, as you go up in level, you just get a +1 to your fighting skill. So when you roll your D20, you add your fighting skill, attribute bonus, if any, and your magic item bonus, and you compare that to your attack matrix, and it will let you know whether you hit or not. So it's basically AD&D, but better in a way. Yeah. And yeah, it has the descending armor class, which my group picked up super quick. I just explained that lower's better, and they're like, okay. And they looked at the hit matrix and noticed the number you have to roll to hit the smaller armor classes is higher. And they're like, oh, okay. So, duh. I mean, I love when I hear people bitching about THAC0, and I'm like, you know, I figured that shit out when I was like 13, right? And I'm practically retarded. So, you know, if I figured it out at 13, any person with an average IQ should be able to figure that shit out. You know, it's not that hard. It's basic math. Oh, so Steve's already on board with me. Hyperborean Brothers forever. That's right. And of the 2 hardbound books I keep showing off, this little softbound book, which they're supposedly making a different one, is a big reason for it, because it's just the setting for Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea is so freaking good. I mean, I hate to go on and gush all over the place, like, you know, I'm getting ready to spooge my pants or whatever, but this setting is really freaking great. I mean, it's not Lonely Island, jizz in my pants great, but it's pretty freaking great. It really is. And my favorite part of how weird this is that all of the weird shit, I've said this before, I'll say it again, every one of the super weird things in this game makes sense within the reality of the game. So it's not like, oh, you just find something weird. Why? This game lets you know why. Every weird thing you find, there's a purpose for it being there. There's a reason it is there. And I dig that, you know. So yeah, I got my bro over here. He's a Hyperborea bro. Hell yeah. One day, Steve, we will get everyone on board of the Hyperborea cult. And then all the other games will just die. And my boy Scott Garrity just won't even know what to do with himself. You know, he'll be like, D&D is the greatest game ever. I don't understand why everybody's playing Hyperborea. Or he'll get Hyperborea and be like, I was wrong my whole life. Hyperborea is the greatest game of all time. D&D actually sucks. I mean, I don't see that ever happening, but it'd be funny. Tim would get on here and be like, I used to love RuneQuest, but now I'm like, screw RuneQuest.
I'll never say that. I'll like both.
Way better.
Why can't I just like both of them and be happy?
No.
There's no need to choose.
That's not how like cults work.
See, that's just it. I already got a cult, and that's the Brotherhood of Nod. I don't need some inferior cult.
Look, I'm telling you what. Kane from the Brotherhood of Nod, he plays Hyperborea. You know he does. He's just got that je ne sais quoi about him, you know? You can just kind of tell he's into Hyperborea. He's probably at his house right now painting dinosaurs, getting ready for the next campaign. Because when you play Hyperborea, you need dinosaurs. Because there's parts of Hyperborea that are just crawling with these little bastards.
My nephew would be very happy about that.
What's that?
My nephew would be very happy about that. He'd be like, dinosaurs!
Yeah, the T-Rex does exist on some of the islands within the realm of Hyperborea. But you know what? I don't think there are any dragons in Hyperborea.
Weird.
As we know dragons, like in other D&D type games. I don't think there are any. I'd have to relook at my DM's guide, but I don't think I saw them.
Well, we'll just call the dinosaurs dragons because I bet that's what happened historically.
Yeah, and yeah, it was like 1800s before they stopped calling them dragon bones.
Yeah.
But man, look at that. A great old one. You know what they do?
What?
They snatch your consciousness out of your body. And then they put their consciousness in your body and your consciousness in their body. And then the other ones around you, they basically make you write down everything you know about history. And then the one that's in the human bodies run around trying to learn a bunch of shit. And then when they get done studying whatever you were doing, they swap back. But they erase your memory. So you swap back to your body months and months later, but you don't remember that you had ever been taken. See what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're not the worst because, I mean, the Migo, they literally pull your brain out and stick it into a jar.
Yeah, I'd say that.
And they power the jar so that your brain stays alive.
Yeah.
And they hook a speaker up to it so that you can speak. And then they use you as basically a source of information, you know? See, like here, you've got some human, obviously evil, working on something. And you've got some Migo, they're the bug-looking things, getting ready to cut that woman's head open and take her brain. And then you've got the skeletons under the table helping her because she is obviously a necromancer. And necromancers have the ability to just summon skeletons. So one of the skeletons is cutting her binds, and the other one is handing her a wand. So yeah, she's getting ready to go out fighting. So yeah.
I want to play a necromancer and make everything about Jason and the Argonauts, like
Huh?
Make people fight skeletons.
Well, I mean, the warlock in the group, I thought he was going to go fighter necro, but he went fighter just generalized mage. Yeah, there's no dragons, but there are wyverns, which wyverns are cool. Who doesn't like a wyvern? Everybody loves wyverns. But yeah, like summon skeletal helper, something is like a level 1 necromancer spell. So when I made my warlock a death soldier or whatever they call it, which is a necromancer fighter. And the one spell I had was skeletal helper. And it's like, so I'm walking around town with a skeleton carrying my luggage and shit. The boss fight went good. Well, I'm glad for that, Bruce. Good. And I'm sitting over here, I already told you, doing your favorite thing in the world, and that's opening and assembling Reaper miniatures. My wife made like the worst thing ever for me to eat for like lunch. It was so good. It was like fried potatoes smothered with queso cheese and pulled pork, barbecued pulled pork.
Like I said, I had steak.
So yeah, it was basically like poutine, but American style poutine.
Yeah, that sounded awful, babe. My wife made the worst thing.
For me to eat. I'm trying to lose weight over here. You feeding me fried potatoes covered in delicious cheeses. Oh, they were baked. Okay.
They were potato puffs baked in the oven.
Nope.
They were so good.
They were really good though. Yeah.
Now, something I had that was really good today, French toast.
I don't think anyone feels sorry for you, babe.
No, no one feels sorry for me, and I'm glad. I don't want anyone to. Yep, French toast is good. Who doesn't like French toast? Yeah, it was basically, she's right. It was more of a like tater tots, crispy tater tots covered in Mexican style cheese and also with barbecued skunk ape's a Kentucky thing. I don't know about skunk ape unless that's another name they're calling the hairy man. Because I've heard of it called the hairy man. But skunk apes supposedly roam about the swamps down here in Florida. But to be honest, it could just be meth heads.
Most likely it's just meth heads.
Right. Which, I mean, even though meth heads, it's a terrible thing, you do kind of have to respect a guy that can strip all the copper out of the house in like under an hour. I mean, that's still kind of respectable, you know? It's like, they can
Definitely impressive.
get all of your copper.
Annoying, but impressive.
Yeah, like if you live in like parts of eastern Kentucky, like Harlan County, Pike County, yeah, don't leave your house because when you come back, there will be no copper. It will be gone because of, you know, the meth head problem. Which is sad because while there's so many meth heads there, it's also one of the most beautiful places, you know, like
Yeah.
if you like the mountains and the trails and the rivers and the waterfalls. Oh, you heard around the 70s, bro, Steven. I was born in 71, so yeah, we had all kinds of weird shit that we were told about. Maybe just to scare us into not wandering too far into the forest. Like one of them we heard about, and I don't know if Leth heard about, but the black dog.
Nope.
Yeah, basically the black dog is like if you see it and you look at it, it means someone will die.
Ah.
So if you're walking through the woods late at night and you hear a dog walking behind you, then obviously what you do is don't look back.
Yeah, don't look back.
Yeah, don't look at it. And then there's, I heard the story of the old washerwoman washing bloody clothes in a creek. Because yeah, if you see her, then it means someone's going to die. And then one of my uncles used to tell me that every year, uh, the Grim Reaper and some other god of death would meet on this mountaintop, Black Mountain, I think, and fight to see who could be in charge for that year. But my uncles, again, I was a naive hillbilly, and I had a lot of relatives tell me crazy shit. And when you're young and people tell you crazy shit, especially people you trust, it's hard not to believe it. You know, you get to this state where you're like, you buy in, you know? And that's what happened with me. I bought into all the weird shit. Now, there is some shit that is weird. Like, beyond a shadow of a doubt, really freaking weird that I've seen with my own eyes. But I've never seen a dog man. I've never seen a hairy man. I've never seen a moon-eyed person. I don't know if I've ever seen like degenerate cannibals. No, we never had Baba Yaga. Thank goodness.
One thing
And
I've seen.
Her
was like-
chicken-legged hut walking around the woods of Kentucky.
One thing I know is that one time me and my brother, we were playing like Smash Brothers in our room, and we had like a mirror by us, and we both seen something in that mirror. Like it looked like our dad walking into his bedroom. So I went up to talk to him for a little bit, say something. Can't remember what it was, but you know, we went in there, looked everywhere, couldn't find him. He wasn't
Well,
in there.
mirrors are weird, Tim. Mirrors are weird.
Maybe, but we think it was a ghost. Or
That's
demon,
why I'm
maybe, I
telling you,
guess.
mirrors are weird, dude. A lot of like people who are into all that supernatural shit, they'll tell you that mirrors are like gateways between. I have the Reaper Baba Yaga hut. It's right up there. I like it a lot too. It may make appearance in Hyperborea because Baba Yaga, for all I know, could have been some witch or even a great old one of some sort, you know?
You know,
It's
I've
easy
seen,
to just say something's a great old one.
yeah, I've seen the
Probably
Baba
is.
Yaga hut that was actually more like a modern trailer.
That'd be funny.
Yeah,
Baba Yaga lives in the trailer park.
yeah.
Now mine doesn't look like it should. Because Baba Yaga's hut is supposed to be round. And it's supposed to have like a pointed straw roof. Mine looks like an actual house and it has an actual like tiled roof. So mine looks like a more modern house. But if you go by the Russian myth, yeah, her house was not like that. And if you really get into the history of Baba Yaga, a lot of people think that she may have actually been an ancient Slavic deity that got demoted to becoming a forest witch. Because, I mean, throughout history, cultures have done that, you know. Either they promote or demote. Like Odin and Thor and all those guys, they were human heroes that got promoted to being deities. The same with the Irish. You know, Lou Lambada was actually probably a real guy, but he did badass shit, so he got promoted to being a deity. But then a lot of deities got demoted. You know, it's just the way it goes, right? It's an interesting kind of anthropological thing, I guess. So Bruce, the reason I asked how your thing with your boss went is, you know, I mean, I know I've been on a couple hours, but I was wondering if you wanted to join for a little while and chat with Tim and I about whatever. But yeah. Yeah, my boy Cold Iron Skillet he really, really wanted the Hyperborean books, but couldn't afford them. So I had him make me a bunch of like thumbnails and shit, and in return, I bought him the Hyperborea books. I don't think he knows it was in return because he's like, "I'll pay you back, bro," and I was like, "You already did, dude. Relax." I mean, I feel bad enough for you. You live in freaking Georgia.
Wrong. James Lowry's wrong.
James Lowry being wrong.
He says
I
that
refuse to accept that.
Baba Yaga is just misunderstood. No.
Here's the thing, Tim. In some stories about Baba Yaga, she's actually the good guy.
I know, I'm kind of just teasing.
And in some stories about Baba Yaga, she's eating children.
Is there any in between? Or is it just neither one or the other?
Here's the thing that I know from having read a lot about Baba Yaga, mainly because I, having some little bit of Slavic blood in me, decided to be a Slavaboo. Baba Yaga generally doesn't harm children who work hard and are very polite. But if a child's a brat or lazy, Baba Yaga is going to eat you. You know what I'm saying? It's going to happen. And there's been some stories where Baba Yaga has either loaned or had a horse stolen from her. Those are the stories with Kostichi in them, where like the prince is chasing down this lich to get his princess back, and the only horse fast enough to catch Kostichi belongs to Baba Yaga. Yeah. Yep. Long nose, droopy breasts, and iron teeth and claws.
Now, I've seen Baba Yaga once in an animated movie.
Well, some people have actually said that Baba Yaga, which no one's 100% sure what it means, but that they think it might mean droopy breasts. Witch with droopy breasts.
Yeah, that was a weird movie, though, because it was a very poorly made German movie about Anastasia.
Oh.
Yeah.
And yes, what Steve says, she sometimes will help people, because in the story about what's her name, I think it's starts with an I. Something Illa Lisa or something like that, was a small kid, and her mom sent her to Baba Yaga claiming to borrow fire, but really her mom just wanted her to die. And because she was such a hard worker and she did everything Baba Yaga wanted through magic, she had help. Baba Yaga helped her. And, that was the whole thing, But in the story, Baba Yaga is testing her, though. She's like, do this. And when I get home, it better be done or I'll eat you. And then because the girl, her mother, before she died, had left her a magical doll. The magical doll would wake up and do all the chores because it was a magical doll. And then when Baba Yaga would come home, all the chores she wanted done were done. So she would reward the girl, as she had said she would. And that went on for a while. Yeah. But I've said this before, guys. I'll say it again. I love Baptism of Fire. And Slavic mythology is weird. It's like, compared to Norse or German or any other mythology in the world, Slavic mythology seemingly makes no sense. It's like, like Norse mythology, super easy to understand. You got Odin and Tyr and Thor, and they all do. But Slavic mythology, good luck with that shit. Because the different deities, they just do whatever they want, whenever they want, really. And a lot of people like to say, like, Perun is the Slavic version of Thor. Couldn't be wronger. That is a big no. That is a big no, 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 no at all, because Perun, totally different god. One of the few things I liked about the Pathfinder world was the fact that Baba Yaga ruled like a whole kingdom in the north, and it was always frozen or something. I thought that was kind of a cool idea, you know. Yeah, that was a cool idea to do, but anyway.
Well, Jim,
Anyway,
what do you think about my gnome?
I think he's short.
Sure. I got my character picture, or my picture in here.
That's not a gnome. Get out of here.
Why?
Because it don't even look like a gnome. I saw that picture and I was like, why is Timmy showing off like a wood elf or something?
Well, geez.
Look, gnomes have beards. That's just the thing. They have beards. They always have beards.
Castles are
There's no way you
doesn't
could
show
have this smooth-faced, whatever that is, saying it's a gnome. I would immediately demand a blood test or something, because that is not a gnome, at least not in any campaign I've ever ran.
Weird.
It could be a halfling, because halflings a lot of times are smooth faced like that. So it could be a halfling. But the problem with it being a halfling for you, as concerns me, is there are no halflings in my homebrew world. And there are no halflings in Hyperborea. So yeah, you'd just be screwed, wouldn't you? See, Steven backs me up. That ain't no darn halfling.
No.
Or gnome. Yeah, it's either an elf or just a young man. It could just be a young human. He's like 6. And one thing about Hyperborea is if you go with the random age for characters, half of your characters start out 17 or 18 years old.
Okay, then. Well, then I got a different one then. Let's see here.
Yeah, he's got to have a beard and a pointy hat, dude.
Oh.
Except you don't necessarily have to have the pointy hat. What the hell? Is that Kane but a space marine?
Yeah, but that's not what I was trying to do. I accidentally messed up on something. Let's see here.
Kane is a chaos marine.
Yeah. Where did it go? I thought I had it on here.
Yeah, that last pick looked like someone from like the Rings of Power HBO series.
Oh God.
Come on, Tim. You know you're hanging out with a bunch of old schoolers, man. You can't just be doing that shit. Just ain't gonna work. People are gonna be like, no, not a halfling. Sorry. Hell yeah. I mean, Kane Lupercal. Oh man. Well, one thing you learn if you ever read the Horus Heresy books is never trust a bald guy, because all the bald guys go evil, pretty much. Every one of them does. So bunch of bald guys with daddy issues. But yeah. The actor they got to play Kane looks so much like Venger Satanus that I just don't even. Sometimes I wonder if maybe back in the day that Venger was like working in the video game field. Like, hey, we're gonna hire you to play Kane, and he's like, cool. Yeah, that dog don't hunt. See, Tim plays old school games, but he plays old school games with like a new school sensibility. Yeah, Erebus is the worst, and it's not even his damn name. He's not even Erebus. He killed Erebus and tuck his name. It's like, what a dick. And he was worshiping chaos before the emperor ever even showed up and found him. He was already involved because on that world they worship the four winds or whatever. That's more of a gnome. That's closer. That's a lot closer to a gnome right there.
Look, I had to mess with an AI art generator. It's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah, because on the world Erebus was raised on, they worshiped the four winds, right? And it was like one of the winds brought war, and one of the winds brought disease, and one of the winds brought change, and one of the winds was like basically Slanesh. And so, yeah, they were worshiping the four chaos gods, but they were calling them the winds. And that happened actually on a lot of imperial planets where there were chaos cults that may not have even known they were chaos cults, but they were. Like the White Scars on their home world, what's his name? Subutai Khan or whatever. He had to wipe out like a whole other group of his own people because they were worshiping, the chaos gods as part of their shamanistic religion, So, yeah. So, I am getting rid of, I already told you guys, every single one of my Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition books, all of them. But I am keeping every single one of my Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 2nd edition and 1st edition books. And I had to explain that to my wife because she likes Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. And I told her, yeah, I'm getting rid of all these books. She's like, but what if I want to play Warhammer Fantasy Battles again? And so I just showed her the other stuff. It was like, this is better anyway, So, got to keep mama happy. When you do date a gamer girl, you got to make sure that you have the games they like. Like one of the games she really likes, and I have everything they ever printed for, is D20 Modern. She loves that freaking. Sweet and Low, the Gnome Illusionist. Yeah. I'd say Apple's the Halfling and Man Peach the Gnome. People could say, well, aren't you just a fuzzy little Man Peach? What's wrong with 4E? It overcomplicates combat a little bit. And every time I open the book and I see like a 400-pound woman and it says smuggler, I'm like, no.
Really?
What is this smuggling? Donuts right into a toilet?
Yes.
Or the amethyst wizard being an African guy. I mean, the thing you have to understand is Warhammer Fantasy, the Empire, is the Holy Roman Empire. Just throw some magic in, but that's what it is. It's Germany. So having all of these like Asians and black people and whatever just in all the art is just absolutely wrong, right? Whereas second and first edition, and second edition is made by one of the most woke bastards ever, Chris Pramas. They have none of that shit. None of it. It 100% just sticks to the old world. So, as a matter of fact, in the original lore, I don't even think there was in Africa. I mean, there was, but I think it got destroyed by the undead on what would be the northern part of Africa and Araby. I don't like the success levels. I don't like when you hit, you get a bonus to hit the next time. It's super woke, super freaking woke. So, yeah, now I ran it for a year and we had a blast. But if I'm running Warhammer ever again, I will be running my Green Ronin 2nd edition Warhammer. It's just simpler, easier, quicker, and there's no diversity in it. And that's what I like, because again, if the setting is medieval Germany, you don't need any diversity. The elves are diverse enough, you know. The fact that there's dwarves and halflings in the game, there's your diversity. Or you could play a Bretonnian or Keslavite or whatever. Something they took out of 4th edition, actually, the Keslavites or the Estalian duelist. Not actually, I don't think, in 4th edition, but they're in 2nd edition big time. So, I don't know. But basically, yeah, in 4th edition, there's not a single attractive woman. They're all like 400 pounds. Yeah, Green Ronin, what happened is Chris Pramis used to be like a normal gamer dude, like a bro, like we are sitting around talking games. And then Trump got elected in like 2016 or whenever it was. And Chris Pramis lost his freaking mind. And he has never recovered. So, you know, but I won't get rid of my 2nd edition Warhammer books just because he's an idiot. I'm keeping them, you know. Do I think I'll ever run the game though? No, because like I said earlier, we're having way too much fun playing Hyperborea. And honestly, other than allowing players to play demi-humans, there's not a damn thing better about the old world than Hyperborea. I mean, Hyperborea can absolutely be just like the old world, except weirder, because, you know, like, instead of calling them Keslavites, you could actually make a character that is Cossack. That's something you could do in Hyperborea. So you don't got to hide behind a name. You could just be a Cossack. You know, you don't have to be from the mystical realms of Albion. You could just be an Irish guy or a Celt or a Pict or whatever. And, you know, so, yeah. Pretty much it takes all the stuff that the old world copied from and just throws it out there and says, yeah, do what you want, you know. And I dig it. And yes, there's zero woke in Hyperborea. It's about as woke as one of the old R.E. Howard novels would be, which means not at all. You know, if you want to play a black guy, you can in Hyperborea. You can play a Berber. You can play any kind of African you want. You can play those guys from Mew. They're white, or not white. They're black skinned, but they don't look African, and they're really short. I mean, every ethnicity is represented in Hyperborea, but they don't go on and on about fat people and trying to make it like your problem, you know. I mean, the town of Zambala is literally ran by Scythians, which they, I think, in Hyperborea call themselves the Ixians. But, you know, there's some kind of Central Asian, Turkic, you know, people. And of course, in Zambala, they have enslaved a shit ton of Eskimos. And they make the Eskimos work as slaves. And in return, the Eskimos eat people. So that's a thing. Now, in the original whatever, the Eskimos that were being cannibals were Cthulhu worshippers. And I changed that and I made them worshippers of Yog. Because in Conan Hyperborea, Yog is the god of beasts and cannibalism, which makes a lot more sense than Cthulhu, the dreaming god, having a bunch of cannibals, you know. So I changed that up. And that's not original. That there was a Savage Sword of Conan comic where basically that exact same thing was happening, except the slaves were from Darfar. And they had to deal with the tavern keeper to kidnap travelers to eat, but they had to give the tavern keeper all of their gear and equipment and coins. Got to go to sleep. You sleep well, Satya.
Yeah, Satya.
You have a good sleep. Yeah, overall, 4th edition rules wise is not a terrible game, but a lot of the woke shit they put in it has no place in Warhammer. I mean, the whole point of Warhammer is that it's weird and effed up and not politically correct. So changing Warhammer to be politically correct and everything like that, I mean, that's destroying the that's spitting on the foundation of what you were trying to do. Well, thank you, Stephen. And it's like what they're doing with 40K, right? Trying to make it where you can have female custodies. That's now supposedly just part of the lore, right? But the problem with that, as far as for the company, is that like almost none of the hardcore 40K players accept it. So it's like, yeah, you've made it that way, and we don't care. So, now if somebody wants to play female custodies or space marines in the comfort of their own home, they can knock themselves out, have the best time ever. More power to them. But don't come up trying to tell people that, that shit is lore, because it is not lore. We have 35 years of that not being lore, and then we have one woke asshole trying to say that it is. And yeah, so most of the guys I talk to that are into 40K, they're not dealing with it. And also the box set that had the female custodians in them did not sell well at all. Yeah. They've just kind of tried to get rid of the Grim. And, I mean, the Grim, the thing that 1st and 2nd edition Warhammer was known for, people joked around that it was the blood and poop role-playing game. Because, I mean, literally that was the game. You crawling around, poop-filled, sewage-filled sewers, bleeding out, fighting things that you should never even know about. That was the game. It was a rough game where
I was about to say, so you're Poo Patrol.
Yeah. Poop Patrol. Yeah, you can be. I mean, if your character started out as a rat catcher, guess what you did?
Killing rats.
Yeah, you crawled around the sewers killing rats. And as a result, a lot of people hate if they get the starting career rat killer. But look at the stats and skill bonuses on that guy.
They're good, aren't they?
They're freaking awesome. And I mean, once you finish out the rat killer career, you can go to another career. Right? So if you're lucky enough to get the rat killer, they get resistances to disease. They get resistances to poison. I mean, they're just really good. That's actually one of the more powerful classes. And another one that people complain about in older editions, but is really good actually, is the Laborer. Yeah. 1st and 2nd edition, you could go insane. Absolutely. And that's if like a big Bestigor didn't just split your wig open with a great axe. But, or a Chaos Warrior, or in one adventure, a mutant with a long rifle, snipe you and kill you. But the Laborer is a basic class, and it doesn't have a ton of skills, but it has amazing strength advances. So if you start the game with like a 3 strength, which is about average for most humans, with the Laborer, you can easily get to 4 and maybe even 5, depending, right? And a character, the higher your strength is, the more damage you do. So if you're at all wanting to play a warrior type, you definitely, unless you're being a stallion duelist or whatever, you want the strength as high as possible, and the Laborer does that. So, but the sad thing here, Timmy, is this. At least in my game and the way I understand the game's supposed to be played, your first starting career is random. So,
Okay.
So you never act. I mean, it's like I'm just saying, if you were to play the game and you got laborer, be not afraid, dear child. The laborer is really good. If at some point in the future you want to become a warrior, any kind of warrior, any kind of person that uses melee weapons at all. However, you could go into the game being like, I want to play a warrior, and then roll up like mage apprentice and be like, well, damn.
Well, I guess I'm a mage apprentice then.
Right. And it's like, well, I'm an apprentice wizard now, or I'm a member of some clergy. I'm an adept or whatever.
I guess I'm gonna be muscle wizard. I cast fist.
A brother from another mother, maybe Stephen. Or the same, I don't know. I was going to say the same dad, but that's only because my biological dad had like 5 or 6 families scattered all over the world. I have an older half sister who lives in Ho Chi Minh City, you know, and that's what he'd do is he'd get with a woman, have a few kids, then leave her and get with another woman and have a few kids. So, I mean, to quote Fight Club, it was like that bastard was setting up franchises. And as a result, I have a brother, Hungar. He is my full 100% same parents' brother. But I've got like 5 half brothers who I'm cool with, you know, because, I mean, you know, they're half brothers. So, yeah, you know, I'm cool with them all. And I've got half sisters, but the half sisters I've never even met because the last wife that old bastard married was like 10 years younger than me almost. So he was 70 something and she was like 26. And he managed to put like 3 babies in her before he died. It's like, God, man. And I never met her, nor did I ever meet her children. I know nothing about her.
He was the wonder.
He was. I don't know. Or like the song, he was a rambling man. You know, moss don't grow on a rolling stone and all that shit.
I was thinking of Wanderer too because of that. It's like roam around.
Yeah, when he came back from Vietnam, he basically got my mom pregnant twice after me. I was first before he went to Vietnam. And so I have Hungar is my brother, and I had a sister, but she died young of cancer. And then like by the time I was 5 or 6, he was gone. And he had like he married another person, and they had like 3 boys. And then he went to another one and had some kids, and then the other one. I mean, this dude. And what's funny is he's like 5'4" and 120 pounds. He's little. And he used to complain that the whole time he was in Vietnam, they always made him go into the tunnels because he was the littlest guy. And he didn't like it. He brought back a bunch of Polaroids of all the shit he saw over there. And let me tell you, harrowing would be the word I would use. Harrowing. I mean, you haven't lived until like you're like 5 years old and you see a freaking picture of a bunch of deceased people hung up over concertina wire and shit.
Yeah, I got lucky. My papa, what he brought back was a Polaroid of him in a helicopter. That's about it.
Yeah, I don't know exactly which base it was, but he was at one of the fire bases and they got attacked for like a week straight. And he brought back pictures and shit. And then my mom eventually made him throw them out because I seen them. And after I seen them, Mom was like, yeah, that shit's got to go. We can't have a bunch of pictures of dead people around, you know. But absolutely, Stephen, I wish you lived on this side of the country, man. Now, Vic, who does the tourney up in Minneapolis, he'll be moving down here. And he will not be that far away from me. So we will set up either a meetup somewhere or whatever. And me and Vic are going to end up being gaming buddies. Of course, wouldn't it be funny if, like, about the time Vic moved down here, I moved to Kentucky? And unfortunately, my boy Tim over here lives way too far from me to actually
I'm in the flatlands while you're
Yeah,
up in the hills. And
you're at least 2 hours away.
might even be a little bit more.
It might even be more. Yeah. Because I'm closer to Virginia and West Virginia and all that shit, North Carolina and West Virginia, than you are to Paducah.
Yeah.
You know, so we're pretty far away. Art director for Blue Moon Miniatures. I don't remember the company, but being the art director of anything to me is freaking awesome. You know, that is really cool. Really cool.
here's the thing, James. How long would it take you to get to E-Town?
Oh,
From where you live?
like an hour and 45 minutes at least.
Okay, that's about probably a little bit longer than what it takes me.
Yeah, yeah. I would have to come across through London and then go down 60, I think, through London and Somerset. And then the next town, I think, is E-Town.
Hmm.
There's not a whole lot there in the middle, you know?
Yeah, I know.
Well, the good news, though, I would be near to McKee, Kentucky. I could swing in there and tell everybody to worship me. Since the whole town or the whole city is named after me. I just roll in and say, my name is James McKee. I declare myself king of this city. And they would probably call the cops on me and I'd end up Baker acted or something.
I don't know. Maybe you'll be like that one emperor that we had.
Right. I'd be like that. The guy who was like, he lived in California and he always claimed he was the emperor of the United States.
Yeah. It's just like everybody just like kind of went along with it just for fun.
Yeah, where my mom is now, which I hope one day to live very near, you could sit out on the front porch at night during spring and you could just see fireflies. Like all in the woods and everywhere. You know,
you can see fireflies here too.
Yeah, you know what? You don't see them here.
Not in Florida.
I don't think I've ever seen a firefly in Florida.
Weird.
Maybe the mosquitoes eat them. I don't know what the hell happens.
I mean, we got mosquitoes and fireflies. I don't know.
Yeah, you've got mosquitoes. Yeah, in the same way where you live has hills. You don't know about mosquitoes. There's 2 states you have to live in to know about mosquitoes. Florida and Alaska.
I'm guessing there are different kinds of mosquitoes.
I'm just telling you. Florida, mosquitoes up your ass nonstop. And Alaska, the mosquitoes are so big they could carry your ass off. You can be in your canvas tent and hear the mosquitoes hit the side of it.
Dang.
Yeah, I used to have a shirt and it was like Alaskan state bird and it's just a freaking mosquito. And during the spring, they come out. And boy, those bastards come out on a mission. And if you don't got something to keep them off of you, you better be, which you always are, completely covered, even your face, because they'll get you. You know, that's all I'm saying. They are aggressive. Whereas in Kentucky, every time I went outside, when I came back in the house, I would have my wife check me for ticks.
Yeah, you'll be
last time it was up, and before that, you know, I'd check myself because you go out into the forest, you may get some ticks.
Yep, that is true. You'll get quite a few. That or chiggers. I know chiggers are.
Oh, the chiggers. God.
Oh, I went down in the woods where my papa is to check out on some what is it? Ginseng. Came back, my arms was covered with chiggers.
You know what the thing I hated about looking for ginseng was, Timmy?
What's that?
It seems like when you go down into the cool valleys and hollers where the ginseng lives, there's always a yellow jacket nest, like somewhere in the immediate area. And if you're not careful and you step on that yellow jacket nest,
Oh no.
they will eat your ass up. My uncle stepped on one, and those yellow jackets went up the inside of the pant leg of his overalls.
Oh no.
And he is running around trying to kill them while they're inside his pants. They're just lighting him up. But it is a fact, though, if you did gather up a bunch of ginseng and let it dry, you could call people and they would pay kind of really good money.
Yeah,
for
my
dry
dad.
ginseng.
My dad used to do a lot of ginseng hunting.
And you kind of know where they are. They're always
Yeah.
down at the very bottom of a holler where it's nice and cool.
Yep.
Maybe
Anywhere
there's a
that's
creek
nice.
around or something.
Yep.
And for us, yellow jackets, which I think is hilarious. But my uncle did not.
But yeah, I got like a ton of chiggers on both my arms. I had to go and wash my arms out and what
I'm not
was
impressed. I got them on my scrotum.
it?
Yeah, yeah. You
Uh,
want to know what terrible is getting chiggers on the scrotum area. And I had them not just, I mean, the whole region.
Ew, boy.
Not but little red dots. And it was the worst thing.
Yeah.
But I'd been running around the woods, crawling through the weeds and shit. And I paid for it too. I certainly did.
Yeah, I had to wash myself off with what was it? Bleach.
The way I was taught to fix chiggers is to paint over them with a fingernail polish.
Well, yeah, I guess that works, but they didn't dig in yet, so we just had to wash them off.
Oh yeah, mine were dug in
Yeah.
next to Pops, of course. The Dead Horse Holler in Kentucky. Dad took me there when I was young, drank some beer. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, Gen X like me, like when my parents threw parties, like I might be 7, 8 years old, and my pops, the guy I call my dad, not the guy that actually, I'm genetically related to, he might be like, hey, go get me a beer. And I'm like 8 years old. I'd just run over and grab a beer and bring it back. And he'd crack it open. And of course, I would get a sip. He'd be like, you want a sip? I'd be like, okay. He'd give me a little sip. And then I'd run around with the other kids playing. It wasn't even a big deal, It was like, whatever. But then again, our generation, if you're a Gen Xer, we are the generation that did all the shit that should have killed us. And as a result, because of the way we grew up, we don't really care about anything. Nothing really rattles us that much. I mean, when you go to school and every single day you're wondering if you're going to get nuked, after a while you just get to where you're like, F it, And Tim, I know you've heard the stories. Our playgrounds were designed to kill us.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they meant to do it, but they did it. Like the jungle gym, or not the jungle gym, the monkey bars at my school when I went up to Kentucky, that MFer was 15 feet tall. So you had to climb a ladder to get to the rungs and then go across it. It was 20 feet long and you were 15 feet up and there was no spongy bullshit underneath you. There was red clay. That's what was underneath you, that red dirt up in the mountains.
Oh,
right?
boy.
And the jungle gym was, again, just a death trap. And of course, we had that spinning thing where you get on it and then the big kids spin it as fast as they can. And
merry-go-round?
Oh, yeah. People are just flying off that MF.
Oh, man. Yeah. I did that once with my dad. My dad took me to one of those little playgrounds, spun me and Jamie really fast. I flew off, did almost 2 backflips, landed on my head.
That was like every day for Gen X.
Yeah.
Like my brother, not Hungar, but Lee, won a 16-gauge shotgun for his work with Future Farmers of America. They presented it to him in the cafeteria.
Oh, that's cool.
And he carried it home on the school bus.
Damn.
Because, and we all had some kind of knife in our pocket.
Yeah.
Like my go-to is the Case XX Sod Buster. But, a lot of people had like Barlows and whatever,
I'm pretty sure like every kid in my school probably carried a knife.
Yeah, our childhood playground was like Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's
Until
not.
they really had the metal detectors.
And if we weren't playing basketball, we were playing dodgeball with those red grippy rubber balls that
Yeah.
leave imprints on your face when they hit you.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the shit we did. Or the climb the rope in gym class. And the rope's 30
No, we
feet
didn't
up.
have that one.
So if
sadly.
you climb up that damn rope and you slip, you're falling however far up you got directly onto the basketball floor.
I mean, we just had the little rock wall. It wasn't even that high.
Our playgrounds that we were taken out to were practically, well, no, they were worse than any obstacle course I ran in the Army. I can say that. But I've told you how growing up the way I did made basic training and infantry training super easy.
Super easy, yeah.
Because it was like nothing they were asking me to do was as hard as
Which you actually
my
did for
life.
fun.
So I was like, oh, we're going to walk 10 miles today and shoot.
Oh,
at the
okay.
gun. What? Fuck, that's what I do on a weekend.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that my weekend was military training.
Yeah, so that didn't bother me at all. I was like, all right, let's go out here and shoot
Oh, you
some
know what,
guns and
James?
stuff.
Today I also went to the gun store and got some more 9mm ammo.
Well, depending on the way the taxes go, I'm getting ready to have to possibly empty my saving up for gun funds. Not super happy about it. I've been saving up for like a long time, but hey, you got to pay the taxes.
Yeah.
Actually, you don't got to pay the taxes. You got to put enough money in your 401 or whatever CDs so that you can count it off of your income, and then they have to pay you. Because my wife and I hate the idea of actually paying taxes. So we contribute to our own retirement, and they deduct that, and that allows us to not ever pay taxes.
Okay.
But I have quite a bit of money saved up. Do you want to know what I was saving up for?
What?
Or Tim, you know me, so I'm going to let you guess.
I would say it would probably be for that scar, but
You would be 100% right.
yeah.
$1,500 there. I only need about another $1,500 because you can find them for around $3,000, a little over $3,000, maybe 4 tops. So every time I've got extra money, I just slide it into savings, right?
Yeah.
But if I have to donate a bunch of money to keep us from having to pay taxes, then I do that
Yeah.
and start all over again. But I did tell my wife, I'll give you this money, obviously, to help with the taxes. But I want you to know, before I die, I will own a Scar S1.
Fair.
7.62 NATO.
Though if I
That
want a scar, I'll probably just get a Jackal.
The Jackals are really nice, and I actually have enough money to get one.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say they're just the American-made Scar.
Yeah.
Yeah, dodgeball. And yeah, Stephen Kennedy gets it. He gets it.
Yeah, I remember dodgeball when I was really young. We didn't do it in high school. It was very elementary type of thing there.
Well, it was like by the time you probably start getting up in grades is when they start sissifying everything in school.
Yeah.
Because when we were in school, like when I was in school, if you got in a fight with another guy, like unless it was serious, like you stabbed him or something, the cops weren't called.
Cops
The
weren't
teacher
called
just split your ass up, and then like
somebody might get
depending
detention
on
or
what
something.
they saw, somebody would get detention or something. But
Yeah.
it was not a big deal at all, even up to high school.
Yeah.
It wasn't a big deal if you got into a fist fight with another boy. Wasn't a big deal. Now, because I had 2 daughters and they went through school, like my daughter got into a fist fight with another girl. Actually, I think it was mostly a hair pulling contest.
Yeah.
They called the cops, and then I had to show up, and I was on shift. So I had to have a guy come in to cover my spot on the truck, right? Because I couldn't just leave the station, so that I could go in there and get bitched at by the assistant principal. And I'm sitting there in my fire gear, and the cop knows me because I walk in. He's like, "Oh, what's up, Mo?" You know what I mean? Because we all knew each other. And I'm just like sitting there, and this nerdy, skinny little guy's going off, me. And I'm just like,
I'd be yelling at him. I'd be like, "What? Really? You called me for this?"
no, I mean, I really wanted to punch him in the head, actually, but that would have cost me my job.
Yeah.
So I just sat there and let him talk, and I was like, okay. And then it ended up that my daughter got like a week of detention or some shit. Nobody pressed charges, and both
Yeah.
girls got in trouble. And then later, she's at my house staying the night.
It's just like, what?
Yeah, I walk in, and like my daughter's like, "Can so and so stay the night?" And I'm like, "Who?" And I look, and I'm like,
Didn't you get in a fight with her?
"Just fight with her." Oh, but that was over something else. We're over that. Okay, whatever. I mean, what do you do, right? Anyway, it's been a pretty long time. I'm getting
I
out of
was
here.
about to say, James, that's how us guys are usually like. We'll get into a fight for a random thing, then probably be best buddies next day.
The guy I always talk about that passed very young, Marcus,
Yeah.
when we met the very first time, we fought.
Yeah.
And we fought all the way up and down the damn road for like a block. I mean, I was so mad, I threw his bike at him. I mean, we were just fighting. And we finally got split up by other kids. And then I'm at home pissed off and standing in my backyard. And lo and behold, who do you think comes out of the back door of the house across the alley? Mark. And somehow or another, we just start talking. And the next thing you know is like, damn, bro.
Yeah.
You
See?
know, we're bros.
Yeah.
And then we were like best friends for 20 years after that. At least 25 years. Every day together, doing shit, playing D&D, getting into fights, partying, whatever we were doing. It was always him and myself. And sometimes Hungar. But Hungar was a little younger, and we kind of would be like,
Yeah.
Ram, kid. You know, we're over here doing older stuff. But anyway, I'll talk to all
I'll
of you
see ya.
later. Thank you guys for dropping in. And just so you know, I got nothing painted today, but I did get a lot of stuff put together. So you know, that's good.
I'll see you.
See you, Tim.